What's up, everyone? Welcome to Log On Battle Royale, the first ever episode. We're going to give our top 10 favorite games of all the times up until May of 2018. With me today is my real brother, Matt, or Matthew Fleming. At XUser8X.
Yes.
On the tweeters.
On the Twitters and the PlayStations.
Also on the tweeters, at, I forget because I don't have it written down, Ivy Roads.
That's actually it. You got it. Nailed it. Boom. Yes,
Well,
you can follow me on the Twitter.
Is it at Geek Ivy Roads or Geek?
There's two. There's at Ivy Roads, and then there's at Geek Ivy Roads.
You can follow them both.
Yep.
Get the best of both worlds. But I know this one, at Lily Luck on Twitter. Elise is with us in the building. Well, she's in the building somewhere else. We're not in the same building.
Hey, we're in buildings.
We are in buildings.
Actually,
is anybody recording this outside?
I'm recording in the field.
I think Andrew, you and me are the closest, and we're like 4 hours away from each other.
That sounds
I
right.
think we're spread out pretty far right now.
That sounds right. Well, you can also follow us at Podcast Log On, which a part of these Battle Royales are going to be, we will have a Twitter poll out. So we need you to go at Podcast Log On Twitter and vote for who you think had the best top 10 games of all time. Nothing really happens except for someone will be a winner and the rest will be losers. Unless no one votes, then we'll all be losers. But that's to be seen.
Well, I'm at least going to vote for myself, so.
I'll vote for you.
Okay.
I'll break the tie.
We will all
I'll
have
vote for
one
Ivy.
vote. It will be ourselves.
I win.
All right, well, if you haven't played a Battle Royale, what happens is they drop you right into it. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to get dropped. We're going to ride the bus. We're going to board the plane. We're going to jump off, and we're going to go into our favorite top 10 games of all time. We also have honorable mentions at the end of this.
We do.
So if you're like, hey, why wasn't Mr. Mosquito on anyone's list? Stay till the end because it may be an honorable mention.
You never know. I would
So we're
say
going to start.
20% of the audience goes, oh, I remember that game. And the rest of people are going, what the heck is Mr. Mosquito?
I doubt 20% of the audience is thinking that.
Believe
Probably
in something, Ivy.
3%.
Believe. We bought that game twice. Twice.
Wow.
You did play it. Hey, in the world that we live in now of remasters and remakes, anything's possible.
That's true.
I mean, we can get a Mr. Mosquito HD remaster
HD Remaster Online.
with I mean more skins. That's what I wanted. Wanted different skins.
Mr. Mosquito Battle Royale.
Yes! 100 mosquitoes, only one human. That'd be so awesome.
You suck the human until they actually just collapse.
Yep.
Well, this is how we're gonna go. Order. Matthew's gonna go first. Then Elise is gonna go. Then I'm gonna go. Then Ivy's gonna go. So we're all gonna give our 10s. Then we're gonna give our 9s, and so forth until we hit the Mac Daddy of number one. So Matthew,
Yep. A couple caveats. This is
Give it a whirl.
our favorite top 10 games of all time. Not
yes,
necessarily the best. So there will be games I think
Agreed.
that will come across that it's not like, okay, I know this game has issues here, there, or whatever. But for me, I loved it for whatever reason. So very
Right.
very subjective.
because if it was the best, then Mr. Mosquito would be on the list.
That's
But
true.
It's their
That's
favorite.
Right.
It
It'd
might
be
not.
number one.
Exactly.
What the name of this episode is Battle Royale Episode 1, Mr. Mosquito. I love it. But yeah, other than that, yeah, it's a real subjective list. Is there anything else before we get into it? We jumping in.
Oh, we jumping in. I already jumped. It's like a Fortnite. Like, I don't know why I are still
I'm
on the
landing
bus.
towers.
I've already jumped.
That's the wind blowing past my head.
I
And in my hair.
exactly knew what you were doing.
I thought someone's microphone was messing up. Okay, awesome. I'll get it kicked off here. Number 10, drum roll. I'm just kidding. I'm not drum rolling for everything. My number 10 favorite game of all time, squeaking on the list for the GameCube, Animal Crossing OG. Was my number 10. That's my favorite Animal Crossing game. partially because it's the only one that you can play other Nintendo games inside of. I loved that, and I don't know if it's my favorite because of that, or if it's my favorite because of it was obviously the first one, and it was a different idea, just being able to, like, I remember waking up earlier than normal on a Sunday morning to try to buy stuff,
Turnips.
try to buy turnips from Joan to try to, make that cash, yo. So,
You have to.
which, now thinking about that might have been a spinoff of a drug dealer, which is a bad thing. But anyways, Animal Crossing for GameCube, I absolutely loved it. Me and Andrew had it for the GameCube and played a lot. Number one villain of all time is Mr. Rossetti, and yeah,
That's true.
if you know, you know, and if you don't want to know.
So you say that. I remember sitting at like a table in high school, and it was like a cool table where kids were cool.
Yep.
And I started talking about Animal Crossing, which is like the not cool thing to do. And this other guy's like, "You play Animal Crossing?" He was like, "Me too." Friendship started right there.
That's
That was
awesome. My first thing I ever heard about Animal Crossing went into EBX at the mall back in the day, and I was just looking for a new game, and at that time it was just like, let's just ask the guy if there's any new games that are out or whatever, blah blah blah. I think my mom may have been with us, me, Andrew, and my mom, I think, and he started talking about Animal Crossing. I was like, "Is that good?" He's like, "Well, I got to be honest, I haven't been to class in a few days because of that game." I was like, it must be good. And so, but yeah, I love Animal. If you don't know anything about Animal Crossing, it's basically like The Sims, but kind of in real time with even more freedom. You don't have to worry about the whole, like, use the bathroom, make sure you're working on time, all that kind of stuff. It's just like, here you are in your little town, and you do what you want to do, and it's a game that really shouldn't be as fun as it is, but it's awesome. So.
Is The Sims if Nintendo made it?
That's probably pretty
'Cause they
correct.
did.
Pretty correct.
Because they did make.
Because they
made that
did.
game.
Yes. So, but that's my number 10. Elise, what do you have for number 10?
Number 10 is Assassin's Creed 2 for Xbox 360.
Oh.
We're already
a good
throwing
one.
out the zingers. I like it.
Oh, yeah. It's, in my opinion, the best Assassin's Creed. All in all, it has an incredible story. And it's a character that I thought I wouldn't get attached to, and I eventually rode that character, into 5 games, I think, and I loved every second of it. Ezio is a great character. The whole world was absolutely gorgeous. I loved the freedom that you had in the city, and then I just remember finishing the game, and you have your villa out in the countryside in Italy, and I spent so much time like collecting every single thing so that every time I went back to my villa, it just was freaking tip-top shape.
Snazzy.
I loved that game.
That was the last Assassin's Creed game I played. I played the first 2.
Thing.
So, fun fact.
It was the first Assassin's Creed game I played, and
Ooh, good.
but I only played Assassin's Creed, which is the one where you're a pirate.
Black Flag.
4, yeah.
Yeah, Black
Yeah.
Flag.
Yeah, that was good too.
Yeah, I think.
But hey, should we go ahead and say that, like, full spoilers for the games we have on our list?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's Battle Royale, man. If you're here, you know.
Battle Royale.
Let's go.
You get a game
Gloves
spoiled.
up.
That's just that's
Anything
part
goes.
of being a Battle Royale.
Anything goes.
God of
Alright.
War. No, I'm just kidding.
She just came around the corner with Assassin's Creed 2, and I started building. It's Battle Royale, man.
Yeah,
Sorry.
there you go.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah. All right, Andrew, what's yours?
Oh, buddy. I am so excited to give you this number 10. So, this is a fairly new game. Just slightly over a year old, I believe. And it's not
Dude,
necessarily...
Spit it out. My cheeks are clenched. Come on,
My
man.
goodness. It's not necessarily the game of itself, even though it's a good game. It's how I played it. That is Resident Evil 7 in VR, specifically in VR.
Nice.
So,
Wait, 7?
yes,
Oh, yeah.
PSVR.
That's
it's the newest
wait,
one.
is that the giraffe one? Oh, that's the newest one.
That's the
Yeah,
newest
it's not the giraffe. It's the one.
That's Resident Evil Giraffe. That's different.
Yeah. That was the DLC that we didn't play.
Yeah.
It didn't come
Okay.
out.
Oh,
But yeah,
the DLC for Resident Evil 7 though is on point.
Still haven't played it.
it
No
is
spoil?
on point.
Ugh.
We just said spoilers.
I'm just
So I didn't play it. Don't spoil it. But yeah, I played it in VR the entire game from day one,
Mm-hmm.
and what an experience that was. That's why I say, like, it's because there's no other game like that on VR, even though a bunch have tried. That could definitely be off of my top 10 list in the future as VR progresses and games get better and better. But just jumping in and being like, okay, I played the demo. It's going to be, some questions around it, but it's pretty much just going to be survival horror. But playing it in VR and just being like, I'm terrified to walk into this room for more than just I'm playing the game on a screen. And just like taking off the headset and just being drenched and being like, this is disgusting, but in the best of ways.
That sounds pretty awesome. I'll say I love the game, even though I didn't play it in VR.
Yeah, the game. I enjoyed the game, but just like the experience, especially. My favorite part of that game is the brother when you have to go through all of his little tests and stuff. It was like I was in the movie Saw, like I was in it. I was Saw. No, I'm just kidding. But it was fantastic, and I haven't had an experience playing a video game that epic ever. So, number 10.
I can vouch for that. Just not only like obviously is the game great, but I remember specifically multiple times hopping into a PlayStation party with you afterwards, and me and my friend Colby were also playing the game at the same time, not in VR, and so Andrew would hop in a party afterwards and be like, how's it in VR? And every single time you're like, I'm sweating a lot. Like, yes, a lot.
Sweating more than that shit. And it does it because I've played a lot of VR games, but whenever you play a game that's new and the buttons are a little different or it controls different, you always eventually get used to it. But in VR, that's not always the case. But I got used to the buttons so quickly because it was just so well made that very quickly I was like, okay, I'm just in the game playing. And it was crazy.
I was excited for that game before it came out. I was really unsure of how horror they were going to go, just how far away from what Resident Evil has always been were they going to go, and I thought they did an excellent job of making it horror and still feel like Resident Evil. So
absolutely.
They did great.
I agree. Well, Ivy, I know I probably stole your number 10, but go for it.
Number 10, Resident Evil Giraffe. No. So let me just start here. My top 10 games are connected to something important in my life, so they're going to be kind of weird. But anyway, number 10 is Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Sega Genesis. And the reason that I love that game so much is because I put so many hours into it. It was unbelievable. It was the only game I had for like a year because when I was a kid, I couldn't buy games, so I just kept playing the same games over and over again. And it reminds me of Christmas morning, 1993. And I just remember just the utter joy that came with playing Sonic the Hedgehog. And the first time I heard the music for the chemical plant zone, I was just, I don't know, I loved it. I loved everything about it. So, and when I went and played the newest Sonic Mania, and it had the chemical plant zone in it, just brought me back. So yeah, that I'm not saying it's the best Sonic, but I am saying that it's my favorite.
Yeah. If I had to pick one video game character that would be my favorite, it would be Sonic, because he was also the first video game I ever had. So
nerd.
Yep, I'm a Sonic
so
guy.
That game came out in 93?
No, I think it came out in 92, but I got it in 93.
Okay, guys.
Same.
So when you played
Same.
it, you played Sonic 2 when I was 2. So
nice.
Inception. There you go.
Mm-hmm. Segaception.
And you're the second born, so.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
that's a good one. I like that one. That's a good.
Pretty sure I can time travel now.
Yeah, really good choice. Awesome. Are we ready to move on to number 9s?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Number 9s. Well, I'm going to stick with the Sega Genesis vibe, and not pick Sonic. I'm going to pick a little game by the title Shining Force. I did not play this game on the Sega Genesis. I played this on a computer emulator for the Sega Genesis, and then because it was so good, got it for the Sega Genesis eventually.
Not going to jail.
Yes, no, not at all. But I don't think I played it till at least middle school. I think it was high school, but it was the first game that I played that was that tactics, Final Fantasy Tactics, Fire Emblem, that style of battle system. But it did such a good job of that being the battle system, but just the whole RPG element was not. It didn't feel like the story was just a way to get you from battle to battle. It felt like the battles were part of the story, kind of thing. And I mean, there are, as we'll probably hear on some of these other games, stuff stories that we heard through a video game, 15, 20 years ago that we still can remember details because of how well the story was told. And Shining Force is one of those for me. So,
heck of a name too.
It is Shining. All the Shining Force games are good, but that was the one. It's a really, really good battle system. Not only on the on-field battle system, but the character progression and how you can change them from, what their role is to maybe something a little different if you spend enough experience and time on them. So, excellent game. Has anybody else actually played that one?
I have. I had it on the. I didn't play it till college.
Mm-hmm.
I played it on the Sega Mega Collection for the GameCube.
Yeah.
So,
I went through and beat it. I think that was the first time I think that's the first time I finished the game was on the GameCube. I believe.
Gotcha.
So. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Elise, what is your number 9?
My number 9. Throwing back to the late 90s. Sitting in front of a hunk of a computer playing Sims 1 for hours. Probably the first game I ever sunk most of my time into, I would say. And all of the sounds just bring me back to Sims. Like if I listen to the music from Sims, or if I hear any of the sound effects, I immediately want to play. It's like a fiending for it.
You're a Sims junkie.
I was a Sims junkie, absolutely. And it's a game that is still very important to me as a person, and I can't not put Sims 1 on my list after all of the memories I have with it. There's just so many stories. It's such a good game, so many possibilities, and I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's awesome.
My
I never really played The Sims. I played at other people's houses, but we didn't ever have a computer. It's not even a powerful game, but we always had old computers, so I didn't get to play it. But
we had Animal Crossing.
Killing your Sims is the best part.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you did any of that stuff. So my wife talks about how much she loved The Sims too, and that's one of the things she would do. She would kill her Sim in some really maniacal way. So.
Oh yeah. Well, you play house for a little bit, you're like, oh yeah, the wife will get up to work and the kids can play in the backyard. And then after a while, you just kind of get bored of that,
Once you have all of the stuff that you can buy.
Exactly. You're like, how can I kill them?
Yeah, you turn into a horrible god.
Yeah. Your puny lives are in my hands.
Yeah, those games are great. What a simple, brilliant idea that has made them a lot of money. So,
yeah,
it was good.
People like money.
Those. People do like money, which is why you play The Sims, because you can get fake money.
Or you can sell your account and get real money.
Yep. Ever since Sims, I've been trying to figure out a way that you can fast forward through work, but I haven't found it yet.
So is it on me now? Number 9's?
Sure, I got the code for that.
Oh,
Matt, if you want to know how to fast forward through work.
How's that?
I got the code for it. I'll tell you after.
Oh, you got the code? Gotcha.
Yep.
It's a good code.
Game Shark?
So,
Game Genie.
my number 9 game is Mario 64.
Hey.
Because it's the first game. Because I was youngling when the 64 came out. Unlike Ivy, who was probably like 30 by then.
It came out in 1964, right?
But that was the first game. I remember coming home from church on a Sunday. And that was the first time I'd ever played a game. When I came home, and then my dad comes in like, okay, we gotta go back for Sunday night church. And I was still playing the game and it hadn't moved. And I was like, what is this sorcery? Like,
Time that was the fast forward code.
That was. I was like, I've never played a game for not even close to that long ever before that. So I was just like, there's something magical about this game. And then when it came out, I know it came out on the DS, on DS Fat Launch Day. And I played it again, and it unreal. That's an unreal game that never gets old. I could play it again today and it'd still be just as good as it was back
Even
then.
with that really crappy DS screen analog thing. I can't even get it out. It makes me so angry. But yeah. No, that was actually on the DS was the first time I beat that game. So I played it at I never had an N64. So I played at other people's houses, but I beat it on the DS.
Yep,
Same here.
Yep, same.
Here.
Yeah.
I probably played it an hour or less on the 64, and I just never really. Probably because Andrew was playing it the whole time. That's probably what he was.
Probably, that might have been it.
But yeah, I never even really gave it the old college try until the DS, and it was a great game. And that's one of those that may be a top 10 game for me had I have played it when it was out or first time. So
Sure.
Heck of a game. And now you can play on the computer multiplayer and be weird.
Yep.
And now people beat it in like 13 seconds. Backwards, somehow.
I've seen those. Yeah.
All right, that's my number 9.
So my number 9 is Arkham Asylum, the very first of the Batman Arkham games. It was, for me, it was a childhood dream come true that I got to be Batman like I thought I should be Batman. And Kevin Conroy was playing the voice of Batman, which I grew up with Batman the Animated Series. And so when I heard him speak and all that stuff, and Joker was Mark Hamill, and it was just like, this is me playing my childhood except way more violent. So it was like it grew up with me, and it was an incredible experience. I think it's the best of the Arkham games personally, although they're all pretty good, but I think it's the best. And I remember just feeling this sense of power. I don't know, just like when you're up in the gargoyles and you're looking down on those idiots as they walk around and just figuring out how you're going to take them out and stuff. That was really great. And I platinumed that game. That was probably the second game I platinumed, but I really loved that game.
Well, if you want to really become Batman, I've been tooting the VR horn train bus, but you can be Batman in PSVR. Because I was.
I've heard about that. I've heard about that.
It's mostly you just dress up as Batman and do detective stuff, but still.
Yeah. I've had so many opportunities to play that in VR, and I missed every opportunity. I was there at PSX and in California when they were like unveiling the Batman like experience or whatever, because their whole focus that year was on VR, and the line for that was so long, and it just like it was not worth it, and I still haven't been able to try it. Is it good?
Well, a lot of people want to be Batman. That's why that line was so long. Or that line was so long. The line was so long.
You needed
It's
to
really
find a VR of the conference so that you could VR past the line to VR
That's
play
true.
the game.
You watch the conference in VR, then you get in the VR virtual line, and you wait with real people.
Mm-hmm.
Then you play a VR game.
Or it's a video game,
genius.
so you probably shoot the people in front of you and then play the game.
Yeah.
Or you just cosplay as Batman and start strangling people. That's
like
pretty
it.
cool.
Ooh.
Man, we should make video games. No, but I like that choice, Ivy. None of those made my list, but they're all really good. Every one of those, the Arkham games are. I like Batman. He was not my favorite superhero growing up, so
That's blasphemy.
Same.
yeah.
Well,
I
if Spider-Man
like him.
didn't exist, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Batman wishes he was Spider-Man.
So, but I think that has something to do with it. I mean, if you're a Batman fan, superhero wise, you have a game that's that good come out, man, it's going to be right up your alley. So,
Yep. Sure thing.
yep. Who
All right,
Hey,
what you
we're
got,
doing-
Matt?
We're back on to
Doing
me.
the number 8s.
Number
Moving
8.
on up the list.
Number
The Ocho.
8. I played this game today. Hey. Ivy's kids have poured a lot of hours into this game recently.
I know what it is.
Yes, number 8. One of the ones that kind of surprised me, but if you just go based on how much time I've put into it, I have to put Minecraft on the list.
Yes.
So Minecraft
Nerd.
is number 8 for me, and it's funny because I put in parentheses beside every game what system. I put 360, PS4, and Switch because I've purchased them on all 3. I've purchased it on all 3. So, so yeah, there's just something I'll never forget. A friend of mine, Glenn Meacham, who was a children's pastor I was working with at church, talked me into getting this game, and I got it. And he was supposed to show me the ropes, and he didn't for like a month and a half. And so I got in after I bought it and played it for 45 minutes maybe. I was like, this is dumb. I don't know what I'm doing. Pass. And then I saw him online one day on the 360 on his Minecraft world or whatever, and I hopped in with him and his friends, and as soon as the world loaded and I saw what they had built, I was like, oh, you can do
You
this
get it.
stuff.
Like when you see that, you get it. You understand what it is. You're like, oh, I get that's what it is.
If I was smart enough to look it up on like YouTube or something, I would have got it earlier,
Right.
but I did not.
That is what my kids did. They started watching YouTube videos, and then it just their imaginations went crazy, and then they built amazing worlds in the sky.
Yeah, it's
Aw.
there, and it's just it's so cool how there's so many different ways to play. You can play, hey, let's try to survive as much as we can on bare minimum. You can play, hey, let's build a city. Hey, let's build the coolest house that we can build, or you can go really big and build some of the crazy stuff that people have built. Like I think that I have big ideas when I play that game, and then you see some of the stuff that people do on YouTube, and it's just incredible. On 360, me and some friends spent like a year and a half building a life-size football stadium on survival, and then now on PS4 is what I was working on today. We have built a life-size or a real-size soccer stadium on survival, and then we're putting like an underwater house beside it that's massive. And so it's just one of those. You can put as much brain power into it as you want, which is one of my favorite things about it. If you just want to chill and not use your brain and hang out with people, that's a good place to do it. Or if you really want to do something gaming wise, you can do it there too. It's just an awesome idea. So, and they've made plenty of money
relaxing.
off of it.
Oh yeah.
Well, I never
Yeah.
got into Minecraft, and so I think you all are nerds.
Yep. Well, you are not a
Yeah, we
fan.
are. You're not wrong.
We've had that conversation before. Andrew's not really a sandbox kind of. That's not up his alley.
Nope,
That's
So,
fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
'cause I'm
fair.
not a nerd.
Every.
Because I'm not making a top 10 list.
We're gonna call. I was about to say we're gonna call each other nerds for being idiots. This whole list is great. Awesome. Is your number 8 Minecraft, Elise?
No, it actually didn't make my top 10.
Hey, shoot, unnerded.
I know. Actually, so my numero 8 is Final Fantasy IV, which also released in North America as Final Fantasy II for the NES.
Okay.
Yep.
That is actually my favorite Final Fantasy.
It's a good one.
Shots fired.
I know. I've played 4, 6, 7, a little bit of 8. I couldn't make it through 8. I'm so sorry. I think I got halfway through 8. I just couldn't do it. 10, 12,
Wow.
13.
You played a lot.
Yes.
Tactics.
And I still haven't finished 15.
haven't
I
either.
started it and I never
I
finished
haven't
it.
either. Question,
And-
if I can ask. So you said it released in. So 4 is, I guess, it's 4 in Japan and 2 here.
Correct. It's the 4th Final Fantasy. It released in North America in 1991 as Final Fantasy II for the NES.
I'm guessing. See, I like Final Fantasy, but I didn't know all these things. I beat 1 and 2 on the same cartridge for Game Boy Advance, I believe.
Okay.
I think so. And I'm gonna assume that's probably the one you're talking about.
It might be. There
was
is
2?
a 1 and 2. Do you remember the story of 2?
Oh, it's been so long. I beat it in Spanish
Did it have
class in high
anything
school.
to do with? Did it have anything to do with airships?
It did. It had a lot to do with airships.
Okay. You might have played my
Okay.
favorite Final Fantasy.
Awesome. I didn't know 4 was 2.
Yeah.
Four is always 2.
4 is always 2. That's right. Just
If you
makes
play
sense.
it twice.
I actually I my full experience that I got with that game was on the PSP remaster. That's where I really explored that game and fell like truly in love with it.
Nice.
So if you do want to pick that game up, I recommend it for the PSP, even though it's for the NES.
All right, I'll go buy a PSP right now.
Real quick.
Okay. Dude, the PSP was so good. Oh,
It was
those
something.
discs. All right.
All right, my number 8 is Heavy Rain for the PlayStation 3. Specifically for the PlayStation 3 because, honestly, it's not as good on PS4.
Really?
It looks awful on PS4. It's still good on PS4. It's just not.
Sean!
If
The
I
reason
had-
that I bought a PS3 to begin with, because they were all, Sean!
Sean!
That's it. All right. Someone else. Who's next? No, I'm kidding.
That's it. That's all you need.
The PS3 came out and it was super expensive, and then it came with the Slim. But I was still like, it was at that point where it's kind of like where the Xbox One is now, where I was just like, I don't have any reason to really have one because there's nothing that I want to play on it. And I was like, when Heavy Rain comes out, I'll freaking buy that. And to go off kind of what Ivy, whatever Batman number was, we bought the Slim version that came with the Dark Knight Blu-ray and Batman Arkham, whatever it was.
And Infamous.
Yeah. And Infamous, that's correct. But I didn't care about any of those games because I just wanted Heavy Rain.
And those are good games.
And I played it, and man, was it something special. I love Quantic Dream. I played Indigo Prophecy before that and loved that game. And so I was like, well, they haven't come out with anything in forever. It's just PS2. Surely this is going to be better. And it was. And I played it multiple times because it was like just the fact that you can play that game a bunch of times and get a bunch of different scenarios in the same scene and have different endings, and it kind of being as dark as it was, because that's kind of what Quantic Dream does. It was just like, never has a game invoked so much emotion in one sitting until The Walking Dead Season 1 came out for Telltale, but that's a different story. But yeah, Heavy Rain, number 8. Thanks, Sean. Without you, it wouldn't have been number 8.
This is
Only
one of
thing
those.
I know. So I played Heavy Rain, the Heavy Rain demo on PS3, but the only thing I really know is Jason.
Yes.
Jason.
Jason!
Jason?
Yep.
Jason? Jason!
That's about the only thing I know about Heavy Rain.
Jason!
Okay, wait.
Well,
at the beginning
I know
of...
the spoiler. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. At the beginning of Heavy Rain, you know how, like, in those, like, early QTE heavy games, when if you would, like, half fail a prompt, the animation would just go back to where it was, like, at the
Yeah.
beginning? I had so much fun when you're spinning around your children in the yard. Oh my
Yep.
God. You literally, you can spin them and then let go and spin them and it's just like,
We need that in VR.
We
oh
do.
my God.
Quantic
Disney
Dream, they
fall
made
over.
a VR game next. But it was just like, the game was cool, and then they introduced the killer, and it's just like, oh, you have to cut off your finger. And I'm like, what? I have to do what?
Yes.
Oh,
Such a
man.
great game.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Are you looking forward to Detroit?
Super duper.
Yeah.
Looking forward to Detroit.
That's why you said very specifically at the beginning that this is our favorite games as of May of 2018.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
okay,
everyone-
okay.
But
Everyone's saying about about Detroit. If you liked Heavy Rain, you're gonna like Detroit. So
that's just that type of game is. They make those games specifically for me,
Mhm.
like the Until Dawns and the Heavy Rains.
I'm pumped about it.
That type of game, like quick time events, as you'll see later on. I have more quick time event games in my list, but I love them. But I'm done.
Stories.
Done.
All right. Well, then my number 8 is Metroid Prime for the GameCube.
It's a good one. I considered
Yep.
it. I considered it.
Yeah. I feel like, well, again, it brings me back to just kind of life where I was and I was in high school, and it was a cool game, and everybody was playing Halo at the time, and I was like, oh no,
Nerds.
Metroid Prime. Yeah, I know. And Halo was always a good game, but I think that Metroid Prime, particularly the first one, really is stood the test of time. And yeah, so anyway, I enjoyed it a lot.
So everybody
Did
was
that game-
playing. Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Everybody was playing Halo Combat Evolved. I'm assuming.
I don't know. I never played it. So
Oh, okay.
one of those Halos, and they were like, Metroid, Nintendo, so stupid. I was like,
You haven't played that game. It's awesome.
Yeah, Metroid was the Halo for people that didn't have friends. So
that's right.
That's what.
Except the second one came out, and it had multiplayer, and it was horrible.
And it shouldn't have.
The worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad.
See, I
They
didn't-
should have just stuck to with the one-player stuff.
They came out with the trilogy on the Wii, and that's the first time I played Prime.
That's what I was about to ask. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, didn't that come out on the Wii?
Yeah, they came out with a trilogy
I
on
think
the Wii.
that's when I
And-
actually played it through.
And that it controlled fantastic on the Wii, I thought. I think that actually
Yeah,
probably
it was
made
the one
better.
that kind of figured out. So they kind of figured out how to do the pointer controls with the first-person shooter. They were the first ones to figure that out with Metroid Prime 3, I think, and that one was really good too. I never finished Metroid Prime 2. It was too slow. I don't know. Something just took my attention away from it. But anyway,
Something about the number 2 of this podcast. Tell you what. Write it down.
Deuce.
Two.
all
Awesome.
right.
Cool. So are we back to me?
We are back to you. And going through our number 7s.
Awesome. Number 7, to the PlayStation 3. You'll see for a lot of my list comes from the value of the storytelling of the game. Not necessarily all of it, but this is definitely one. BioShock, the first one, is my number 7.
That way you wrote down BioShock, the first one.
I did not. I wrote BioShock parentheses PS3 in parentheses. But on my I considered Infinite as well for this list because I think Infinite may be the better game, but BioShock, just from a story perspective, that's one of those like I'd mentioned earlier. That's a storyline that I don't think I'll ever forget. You know, there's a specific. I guess without going crazy in the spoilers, just a specific moment towards the end of the game. It's just a massive twist in the storyline, and I just remember my mind being absolutely blown. And I've played through that multiple times, that whole game. So, excellent game.
Would you
Excellent.
kindly
Man.
explain to me? Would you kindly explain to me? I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
That's awesome. It's an excellent world too. Just the whole idea of Rapture and being an underwater city that's kind of abandoned-ish. There's still stuff and people and creatures there, but it's not really what it was meant to be, and it's not as populated as it was meant to be. And it was just it was awesome. And one of the games also gave me a love for some of that old 20s, 30s, and 40s music. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's actually on my list too. I won't say what number, but it's on there.
it's nice.
Number 3. Yeah, I said it.
Shut
I have
up.
I have no idea.
Would you kindly tell me
It's
what?
just like,
I bet it's
stop.
number 2.
Awesome. Is Minecraft your number 7, Elise? I'm just gonna keep saying it.
Ooh. No, it's my number 1. Actually, for the 360, my
Ayo.
number 7, BioShock 1.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's 2
actually.
different games. His was the first one.
Totally.
Yeah, you're right.
Different systems.
A man chooses, a slave obeys. That
Hey.
entire game is from start to finish polished, well paced, interesting all the way through. The story was interesting all the way through. I think Infinite was so interesting in the first half, and then the second half of the game it just fell apart. BioShock 1 is like it's the game where you finish it and then you go for a walk. Like you need to clear your head, and you're thinking about it for a month after you've played it, and still I'm thinking about it. It's such a commentary on like humanity and our like all of our stupid goals towards a utopia that will never happen, and it's just so good. I think it's one of the greatest games of all time and should be applauded.
I'd say
It's
at least
one of
in the
those
top
games
seven.
that, it's one of those games that really is as much art as it is a video game. Like,
true.
and I don't mean just how
Sander
beautiful it is,
Cohen.
because it is beautiful, but just everything about it, from the story to the aesthetics to the sound to the twist to just everything.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's really, and yeah,
It's very philosophical.
Yep.
So
It is.
makes you think.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Well, I'm the only one that doesn't have that on their on my list.
I was
so
hoping it was
y'all
your
are
number
nerds.
7.
Nerds.
Nerd.
No, my number 7 is the exact opposite. BioShock. It's Animal Crossing for the GameCube. I've already talked about it a little
okay.
bit, but yeah, played. I thought about doing New Leaf, but I just couldn't, because it's got to be the OG.
Mm-hmm.
Without the OG, it's like without Iron Man, no Infinity War. So
With no OG, there is no G.
something about those were the days where we still had internet and all that kind of stuff, obviously, but it was going to school and being like, yeah, man, you got the turnips guy or whatever? You've been buying turnips? I'm like, no, what? And you go
Joan.
home and you buy turnips. Go back next week. Yeah, you can get a gold statue of yourself in the park. He's like, what? How do I do that? Oh, yeah, man, I got a gold fishing rod. What? How do you do that? Yeah, it's like, so it was classic.
It was.
Everything, it was on your list, right, Matthew? Do you put
It was
that
my
on
number 10, absolutely. Yeah, one
Yeah.
of the things I didn't mention.
Well, my number 7, so suck it.
Okay then. No, and one of the things I didn't mention about it earlier is just the whole idea of it being so real time. So it was like, we're doing something on Christmas Day, and it's like, all right, come on, I have to be home by like 6 o'clock to see what the winter festival is going to be like, kind of thing. Like, you plan your life around these events that are happening in the game, and it's just such a clever idea.
The events that you don't like even care about, like, I don't know, I wonder whether if they're gonna do anything for St. Patty's Day. I gotta show up. I'm not gonna wear green today, but I might buy something green on Animal Crossing if it works out.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah,
Elise mentioned earlier about the sounds in The Sims, making her think about that. When I hear the little Animal Crossing talking,
Oh
man.
my gosh, yeah.
I love it. It takes me to a place.
I'm obsessively playing Animal Crossing New Leaf to this day. I'm playing it still, like
she's playing it right now.
on the daily. I'm playing it right now.
I fully expect one for the Switch within the next year.
I can't wait.
I don't know. I almost put the mobile game instead, but decided not to.
Ooh, I'm glad you didn't.
Animal Crossing Mobile, the first one.
Awesome.
No, I picked Animal Crossing, the first one.
Awesome. What you
That's
got,
my
Abby?
number 7.
Well, is it the first? Because there was an N64 one, but I'm just saying.
Shh, GameCube. Shh.
So number 7 for me is Uncharted 1, which is not the best Uncharted game, but it is my favorite Uncharted game for a number of reasons. First, it was the first HD game I ever got, because I played the Wii for way too long, and I got PlayStation 3 late, and got Uncharted 1 and beat it, and it was the first game I platinumed and enjoyed everything about it. I got so good at it. Yeah, it was one of those. I was just unbeatable. So I wish it had multiplayer because I would
Brag
beat
alert.
everybody. But yeah, I really did. It was unbelievable. I knew where everybody was coming from at every moment.
Did you do so?
Because you have to beat in not hardcore, but hardened or whatever it's called.
Yeah. Were you good enough that you could throw grenades as well as the enemies on that game? And just sit it on your throw it and it sits on your shoulder. Just rest there.
Well, the thing that I was good at is in Uncharted 1, they didn't adjust your bullets for. So if you play all the other Uncharteds, they adjust your bullets for your perspective, which is over the shoulder, which is not natural. So you want your bullet to go where your reticule is pointing. When Uncharted 1, the bullets actually went where they were supposed to go.
Where your gun
So
was
I got
pointing.
good at judging not where the reticule was pointing, perspective and all that stuff. And I got good at judging that, and so I could shoot from around corners because there was a glitch in the game that you could, and not glitch, it just because of the way the shooting worked, you could shoot people. So I knew where they were coming from. I'd shoot them from around corners and stuff, and so I beat it. So anyway, it was my favorite.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Did you play Uncharted 4?
I played all of the Uncharted's multiple times.
Me and I
But I have to say, I have some. I got a story about some Uncharted's and why they're not on my list, but we'll get to that in the honorable mentions. But can't get mad at any of the Uncharted's.
No. Everything not. They're so good that it's my turn, and I'm on number 6, which is Uncharted: Drake's Fortune, the first one for the PS3. So I'm one spot better than Ivy.
There you go.
So nobody picked the Vita one, huh? Gotcha.
Nobody picked the Vita one. It's true.
But
yeah,
but not the second one though. No.
No, I think it's the first one. Especially for when it came out. I mean, that was the game. I worked at GameStop at the time that this game came out, and I didn't, like Andrew mentioned earlier, we didn't have a PlayStation 3 until probably 2 years or so after it released. And working at GameStop, it was like I hadn't played any of these PS3 games. So when people came in and say, "If I got a PS3, what game should I get?" Basically, we were told to just say Uncharted because it's that much better than everything else they had out at the time. And
for sure.
And so when I finally did get a PS3, it was really high on the list. And I think every Uncharted game to an extent does this, where it's one of those games, one of those series of games where you can have somebody else watch you play the game and enjoy it almost just as much.
Yeah.
I know, Ivy, you've done that with your wife will watch you play through the games. And it's difficult for a game to keep you captivated that much. But yeah, I mean, you can just watch them as movies.
For me, it's not. I know that it's not the best Uncharted. Like, I know that's probably between 2 and 4, but for me, it's just my favorite. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was just great, and it was the first game that I played that told a story that well. Maybe it's not the greatest story of all time or anything of that nature. Like BioShock, I think, is a way better story. But the execution on all of the cutscenes and the acting and the voice acting and just everything throughout, it just did it all flawlessly as far as the storytelling goes. So it was great. So yeah, Elise, you gonna stick with it, Uncharted?
Minecraft.
No, I'm actually gonna break the trend.
She's gonna say Minecraft.
Nerd.
My goodness. No. I'm sticking with PlayStation though. My number 6 is Shadow of the Colossus for the PS2.
We played it for the PS4.
I haven't played it at all.
I've not played the remaster, only because I've played the PS2 version so many times that the remaster is just a prettier version of basically the same game to me, so I don't see a point in playing it again. I love that game. Everything about it, the feeling of isolation has not been nailed in a long time, I would say. I think it's one of the better games with an ambiance. I don't know how to say that. It gives you this feeling, and it takes you on this journey that you have no idea where it's going. It doesn't follow like really any story cliches because it doesn't really tell you, it's not very in your face about what's going on. You're just like you're just riding on your horse and you're just going places and you're just constantly in awe of everything around you, and everything is just so much bigger than you, and it's just such a magical game. Yeah. It also, the combat, I know people like complain about the controls and things like that, but once you get used to it, sinking your sword into a Colossus, like just to get that last hit, is just like probably one of the heights of my gaming career. I love that feeling.
It was a good one. I played it on PS3. I got the remaster on PS3. And playing it so late, you can feel... So not playing it in the moment, when it came out, you can feel that it's kind of old and other games had done things better than it had, but you can tell that other games were inspired by it. But yeah, it's definitely in some of the best games ever made on most lists, so it's worthy.
I have not played it.
It's a must play.
That's why I was
Yeah, same. I haven't played it
thinking
either.
about. PS4 version, but I heard it was good.
The ending it's one of those games where the ending is like emotionally significant. That's all I'll say.
Well, okay.
It's a good game.
If I play it, I'll have tissues ready.
Real good game. That's right.
My number 6, Left 4 Dead 2.
Hey.
For the Xbox 360. It's also on Steam. I played it on Steam. I think that's the last. I like that game so much. I played it on a computer for some reason, unbeknownst to me, but I did. But I mainly played it on Xbox 360, and
Unbelievable.
the multiplayer aspect had a lot to do with it. It was just getting 4 people together and just going to town. I love horror games. Love zombies. I mean, yes, please. And this was at the peak of zombiness. This was like Walking Dead Season 1. I mean, this was everything as far as video games go. This is when zombies were taking over, literally. I liked the first one a lot, but the second one had more and better DLC, more support. I even liked being the zombies. You know, that's strange, but that's just one of those games that you could just play every day, and you could play any difficulty and just mow down zombies and then find little Easter eggs and everything they had in it. I love that game, and to this day, I don't understand why they haven't done a remaster, because I want to play it more on a console. And I've been praying for a Left 4 Dead 3 forever, so much so that I own the Left 4 Dead 3 community on the PlayStation 4. There's only like 7 members because the game's not out yet, but
That's funny.
Oh,
awesome.
wow.
So I played Left 4 Dead 2 on my MacBook that can barely run Tetris, and so it was like really slow, but it was fun when I could get it to work. It was a lot of fun. It basically melted down my MacBook though.
I
Left
played
4
on
Dead Tetris.
my a white MacBook as well, I think, because it was free it was free on Steam at one point.
Yes, I think that's when I did
So-
it too. Yep.
And at the time, I worked at a coffee shop library, and so I would take it there and play it.
I remember that. Nice.
That's amazing. It was fun.
Did not make my
I-
top 10, but I considered.
Oh yeah, I considered Left 4 Dead as well, but I actually favored the first game over the second game.
Me too.
Yeah, I think the environments of the first game really got this like claustrophobic, just hectic feeling. The whole game was so good.
It was so good.
Second one like added a bunch of stuff, but I feel like the first game really had like a
Yeah, I think
an
I more
essence
so
to it.
picked the second one because at the time, I mean, there's a million multiplayer games out, and it wasn't like a heavy rain situation, or like there wasn't like a connection with number one where it's just like, oh my god, this is magical. It's just like, this is a really good game. So when the second one came out and they just polished it up, I was like, it's even better. But like the first time you go in the first game, you start on the roof and you go down. And you finally make it out of that house, and you just look to your left and just see thousands of zombies, what it seems, just climbing the fence. And you look to your right, and there's just more running at you. You're like, I
Wow.
don't know what to do.
This is a problem.
so
fun.
good.
I'm done. I'm done with my spill.
Nice.
So my number 6 is the first Mario Galaxy.
Good one.
For Wii, yeah. And yeah, I really enjoyed that game, but I enjoyed it more when I went back and played it with my kids like 5 years later. And it was kind of the introduction to 3D Mario games for them. And I remember we played through the entire game together, and they would play as the second Wii remote, you know, and I played as Mario. And yeah, we beat it together, and then we went ahead and we had so much fun doing it. We went and played Mario Galaxy 2 and beat that one together too, after I had already beat them like a couple of times. And yeah, it's just
beat
a
your
really good
kids?
game. Yeah, I beat my kids in video games.
That's a great game. It was a fantastic game. That was one of the perks of working at GameStop, is as long as we had more than one copy of a game, you could check it out. And I never bought that game because I checked it out a lot. Just beat it. And it was a fantastic game.
Yeah, it was fun. It was good, and they really switched things up. I enjoyed the sphere and gravity and like all the fun things you could do. So
Yeah, they took like a Super Mario 64 and made it just like how can we get creative with this and make it the same but different. And I thought they did a great job with it. Awesome. Well, we'll go to number 5. My number 5 is my favorite Final Fantasy of all time. That is Final Fantasy X or 10 or X10. Not X2. Not that one.
Extreme.
You didn't like X2? Come on.
I haven't played it yet, actually. And when I say yet, I mean like I am about 70-ish% of the way through Final Fantasy X again for the first time on the PlayStation 4. I played
shoot.
it. And so I bought that little deal, so it comes with X2 and some extra little goodies in there too. So I'll be playing that soon.
Love the little goodies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Final Fantasy X is pretty serious. Final Fantasy X-2 is a fun time.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
We'll have to do a top 10 fun times list.
Yes.
I think Final Fantasy X-2 is going to be that game that I finish and I'm like, well, I can say I've done it now. I'm done with this. But no, Final Fantasy X is great. It's an excellent story, and I love the way that they were. I love the progression of Final Fantasy games. Just keep maybe tweak a thing here or there, and continue. Every story is pretty good, if not really good, like this one, and you really get connected with Tidus, the main character, and I've hated that the Final Fantasy games have gone away from being turn-based, just because when I think Final Fantasy, I think they're turn-based games. And if you want to make a good game that's not turn-based, fine, make it not a Final Fantasy game. But that's neither here nor there. Final Fantasy X is my number 5, and I remember there were times where Andrew would come in and watch me play.
Oh yeah,
because graphically at the time when that came out, some of those cutscenes were so far ahead of it.
They were mind-blowing.
Yeah, and great story. Really, really big game. I spent, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I spent days playing Blitzball instead of playing the game.
Oh.
Which, if any of you out there are listening and you decide that you make video games and you want to do something cool, if you just make a mobile version of Blitzball, I would love you forever. I'm just saying.
If any of you out there listening don't like Final Fantasy games, but you're like, you know what? I wish there was just a new sport I could play.
Blitzball.
Start the leagues. Let's go.
It's a turn-based sports game, kinda.
Oof.
Yeah, it's great.
Man, anytime you listen to to Xanarkand, it's just.
Mm-hmm. It's great, and the level up system, the progression system in that game was just absolutely awesome. Especially if you choose the expert grid, I think is what it's called. I think it's expert's the word they use. It's the more convoluted grid, where you basically level up by moving around a grid and trying to get to spaces that are, this ability or that ability, or HP up or strength up or whatever. And you can take different directions and different routes with your characters and cross over and get some of the same spheres with both. It was really awesome idea, and it's just, to me, it's the best of the Final Fantasy games. And the first one, I think it was the first one I played all the way through as well. I played multiple through after that, but yeah, just a great game.
Great soundtrack too.
Yes, excellent.
Impeccable.
Excellent. Elise,
all right,
number
Elise,
5?
It's your number 5. Here comes Minecraft. Everybody get ready. Here comes.
Number 5, Minecraft, but no.
For the phone.
Mr.
For the
Mosquito
phone.
Edition.
Number 5 is the 5th installment of this series.
Hey.
Minecraft?
It is the 5th installment of one of my favorite game franchises of all time,
Kingdom Hearts.
The Elder Scrolls.
I was guessing. I was just guessing.
I was just
Skyrim.
Thinking, I was just thinking Resident Evil for some reason. Is she really about to pick Resident Evil 5?
I know. I have all of
I
them.
actually was too.
That
I was thinking
that was
Really?
close to my top 10, believe it or not.
Yeah.
No,
Also,
I mean, Resident
ahead.
Evil 5 is a good game, but
yeah.
Elder Scrolls 5
So
Skyrim. It's on everything, folks. If you want to play it, if
Yep.
you haven't heard of it, it's a dragon game.
Dragoon.
Basically, you play as a dragon named Spyro. And you
wait.
They have it in VR too. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, they have it in VR.
They do.
No, so Skyrim is probably one of the biggest games. There's like a couple games in my life that I sunk an unhealthy amount of time into, and Skyrim is one of them. Sims also being one of them. But I'm in the thousands of hours, I'm sure, for that game. It's disgusting how much I've played it. On my Xbox 360, I had all of the save files that I could completely used up with full, like, high-level characters in every race. I had a notebook where I wrote down the name and the backstories for each one of my characters leading up to the beginning of the game, and then I would role play those characters and play all the quests and the missions, and I did that for every single race. It was disgusting the amount of time I put in that game.
I mean, if this is number 5, I don't really want to know.
Yeah. Just wait.
Skyrim it's number 4, 3, 2, and 1 as well.
Yeah. It's actually all of them
it's just
from
all
now
my
on.
top 5.
That's right. Skyrim is just... I feel like it doesn't even need to be talked about. One of the greatest RPGs of the last...
Ever.
10 years, I would say.
It's great. It's great. That's true.
It is great, and it's a fun time all around, and with mods, it's even better.
True. I really want to play this again soon. I've been wanting it for the Switch, and I'll pull the trigger at some point.
I got it for the Switch. I wasn't expecting much graphics-wise. I was like, okay, this is going to look like the 2011 version. No, it's actually graphically better than the 2011 because it's the special edition version of the game that released for the PS4 and everything else.
And you can get a Master Sword and Shield.
That's right. That's
the only thing Skyrim was lacking in the first place. So
you're right.
That's awesome. Good choice. I applaud.
Yep, that's
Did
my
not
number
make my
5.
list, but it was close.
How about you, Andrew?
Oh, I'm about to ruffle some feathers. It's a good thing we don't have millions of listeners or even thousands, because I'm about to ruffle some feathers. My number 5 game of all time is Mass Effect 3. The third one. Not the first one, not the second one.
Not like the first one, the third edition.
This is the third one. Mass Effect, the third one.
I got you.
This kind of goes with the rest of the games on my list, I guess, from here on out. But I do love a good story in games, but gameplay can overtake that easily. So everybody was torn, just making a huge deal about the ending of Mass Effect 3. And I'm just sitting here going, like, we're not watching a movie. We're not watching a TV show. It's been in production for 3 years and has millions upon millions of dollars, even though that's video games too. But I wasn't upset at the ending. You get to choose your own ending, kind of. But so the fact that was a thing, I didn't really get. But just the game in general, the gameplay, even the multiplayer was. I played that way more than I should have.
I did too. I absolutely.
It was fantastic. Ivy just stomped on a Goomba.
Coins went everywhere. No, Sonic. I got hit, and all my rings went everywhere.
Well, yeah, the first when I popped in Mass Effect 3 and Earth is being taken over, and I'm just looking around at how at the time that game was gorgeous. I think I played it on the 360.
You did.
I think.
You did.
I played. This is also kind of a moment game as well, because it was just one of those times where there wasn't a lot of games out or whatever, and Xbox Live had a sale on Mass Effect 1 and 2, and I was like, well, I'll give it a go. Why not? And then I just played 1 and 2, and I was like, oh my gosh, these are fantastic. And so 3 came out shortly after, so I basically played 1, 2, and 3 back to back to back, and it was just an accumulation of all of Mass Effect happening in my life. But 3 just being just coming down to Earth and seeing everything get destroyed, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is the end. This is how it ends. And then just playing through, and like I said, I wasn't upset about the ending. And then they ended up, I guess, changing it or fixing it depending on how you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the gameplay in that game is just fantastic. I don't think you can do an over the shoulder shooter as well as a game that's big on other things, as in like taking your game saves all the way through and the decisions all having consequences, and you trying to keep everybody alive, and me having to play through 3 or 4 times to have enough money to buy the right books so Ashley would be with me in the game. So it just, yeah, enough said.
That's a good one.
Nerds.
It's a good one.
Who did
So
you
you know
romance?
what's funny?
I romanced the blue chick the first time
Liara.
because it's the easiest to do. Yeah. But yeah, I played through and kept my money, like kept going over it so I could get Ashley. Because like, she's sick and you have to like buy her the right books, and some of them are crazy expensive. It's like, how does anybody buy this the first playthrough? I'll never know. So yeah, the ultimate goal was always Ashley. I mean, come on.
Come on.
Really?
Come on. But also you have to save her up until that point as well, for that to even be possible. But
Mm-hmm. So while I did enjoy the Mass Effect games, I think I put more time into the third one than any of the other ones. Probably because of the multiplayer. But I, just for theming reasons, I guess it speaks to me more. I played the Dragon Age games more, obviously made by the same people, and very similar in a lot of things, storytelling and the dialogue and all that stuff. Just completely different theme and different battle systems, basically. But that's a good one. Good choice. Cool.
I forgot who's next. I don't have my thing pulled up.
Ivy's next.
Ivy. Mass
BioShock,
Effect.
which we already talked a lot about BioShock, but yeah, so BioShock is my number 5, and I enjoy immersive sims. So I also, so it was the first one I ever played, actually, and yeah,
That's
changed
awesome.
my world.
Yeah, I mean,
A whole new.
basically any game that lets me inject myself with superpowers.
Shut your eyes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. BioShock it's a great one. How close were the other two to your list? Out of
BioShock
curiosity.
2 and Infinite.
Yeah.
You know what's weird? I think so. This can be blasphemy. I think I enjoyed the story of BioShock Infinite better than BioShock 1. But I think the atmosphere of BioShock 1 was so powerful that it made it a better game.
I think BioShock 1 obviously it starts you out with some story because you got to figure out what the heck is going on. You've never played a BioShock game before. And then the last quarter of the game is great on story. I thought Infinite was good all the way through, and honestly, Infinite, the DLC from Infinite told a better story than almost the game did to kind of finish off and do some other things that was absolutely incredible. So, okay, out of curiosity.
So I think the best part of Infinite actually was when you went back to Rapture. So that's kind of telling. But I don't know, something about I'm going to Infinite now. You made me think about Infinite, and so the development studio that made Infinite is based in Boston, and if you come to Boston and you look around, you can tell that they were inspired by a lot of the things around Boston when they made that game. So
that's cool.
Anyway.
Ivy's in Boston, by the way, people of the internets. Now you're gonna have to watch your front door all night. People know where you live.
I know, because there's not that many people here. It's like you could just point me out.
I know, right? Awesome. We're on number 4s now. Oh, we are getting
Best
close. Getting close.
Ooh, Quattro.
I didn't even realize it until just now, but my number 4 is Resident Evil 4. And I know it came out on the GameCube first. My favorite way to play the game, and the reason it's on my list, is for the Wii. I think the whole idea of aiming with your right hand and pointing different places is awkward, I guess, to learn as a game. But especially a game like Resident Evil 4 that controls kind of in a clunky way on purpose to make it more difficult for you to play the game. It worked beautifully, I think. Y'all were yelling Sean earlier. This is where you can Leon all you want, because
Yes.
oh my goodness,
So many Leons.
Also, I meant to
can't.
say this about Final Fantasy X, but you could also
oh my gosh.
Okay, well, all right, hold on. The forced laugh is forced on purpose.
still.
Yeah, and terribly done on purpose.
Correct.
But okay, yeah. So Resident Evil 4, though, I love the Resident Evil games. It's that series that if they come, whatever Resident Evil 8 is, good, bad, good reviews, 3 out of 10 reviews, I'm gonna buy it just because that series has been so good to me that I'm gonna give it a shot.
You owe it to Capcom for what they've done for you.
They clearly they don't have enough of my money yet.
Yeah.
No, I mentioned my friend Colby. He and I are actually going through Resident Evil, the remake on PS4, the Resident Evil 1. So it's a good one. I've never finished that, and so we're going. I love that series, and Resident Evil 4 is just to me the perfect balance between some of the action stuff that they started to add and get more in 5 and even more in 6, and the survival horror that they'd had before. It's just a great balance. It's just excellent game. You know Resident Evil games are good that when you finish them, you go, oh, there's a new difficulty. I can play it right now. Let's do it. And you just immediately start right back over.
Also,
Funny. Oh, go ahead, Andrew.
that's okay. Also, if you play on the Wii, it's a good exercise. So there you go.
That's true.
Because instead of tapping A real fast, you got to shake your Wiimote real fast.
That's true. That's why my right arm is way bigger than my left arm. Resident Evil.
So interesting little factoid for you on the Resident Evil games. Resident Evil 4 in particular was one of the first games to do this, where it had adaptive difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were better at the game got harder to adjust, and if you were worse at the game was easier. So you actually got punished for being better at the game.
That makes a lot of
Did
sense.
you know that?
If you play the game, it definitely makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Um,
The zombies get way better at dodging
Yes,
as
they
you get
do.
better at headshots.
Yes, they do. I
I'll never
just
forget the time in Resident Evil where I was in, because I had just purchased something from, what are you buying? What are you selling?
What
And
do
so
you
usually when when you're purchasing stuff from him, there's not zombies nearby. So I bought something and walked in the house. I was right beside him. Was looking at my stuff, and all of a sudden, and then I look over and the zombie throwing grenades at me. Like I was like, what? I think that single moment was the biggest jump scare of my entire life.
Because you had like the calm music. You're
Yeah.
like by the typewriter, and the guy's like selling you stuff. You're like,
I
"Oh,
still
this is
to this
great."
day don't know how
Sipping
he got
on
up
tea.
there, but
irrelevant.
he scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, but the not zombies. No, it's just such a great game. Just to me, from beginning to end, amazing. The perfect amount of killing zombies to surviving and making sure you got ammo for this and that, and also having to do some puzzles. Sometimes trying to do puzzles while getting shot at by random not zombies or whatever they called them back then. It's just an excellent one. Good game. So
Oh,
You
good
can
luck with
actually-
your good luck with your Resident Evil 1 playthrough on the PS4.
so far
That
so
is
good.
like by far my favorite version of that game. That is also my favorite Resident Evil, so I'm happy to hear that you're
Nice.
having fun with it.
Yeah, it's good. The shooting is difficult, but it was always going to be for a game that old.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
All right, here comes Minecraft. I'm ready.
Yep.
I was gonna say real quick before we leave Resident Evil that I can actually, after playing God of War, you can feel the influence of Resident Evil in God of War, in my opinion. Resident Evil 4, that is.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I haven't thought that, but I can see that.
I think, and I'm just talking in my butt. I think I've heard that somewhere else.
The
interview
thing
or
is,
something.
first off, there is the what are you buying kind of sections
Mhm.
in that game.
Mm-hmm.
There's safety sections. All the barrels are breakable. Hello.
Yeah, that's true.
It's over the shoulder. It's not a shooter, but it's over the shoulder. The camera feels like it. Now, anyway, so I
And
thought
you're
that
trying to
was-
rescue the president's daughter. in that game,
Booyah.
too.
Mm-hmm.
It all
And jet
makes sense.
skis. So many jet skis.
It's a good one.
I think I heard on Kind of Funny, one of them, I think it was Tim Geddes, said like, "Oh, this reminds me of Resident Evil 4."
That
And
might have been it.
when I heard that, I was like, "Excuse me?" But the more I think about it, I can see some similarities.
Yeah.
It's not the same game.
No, not
Correct.
just-
No,
You can
yeah.
it feels like when they made God of War, they had done their research and they realized that Resident Evil 4 is one of the best games ever made. And they're like, hey, we're going to do over the shoulder game. Let's take from the best.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's just influenced. It's not copied kind
Absolutely.
of thing. Yeah. Well done.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Elise?
All right. Quattro, number 4 for me
Minecraft.
is for the PS3 and the PS4. I played it for the first time on the PS4 though. And it's Journey.
Oh, I didn't know what it was.
Ooh, the people that sing Don't Stop Believing?
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Did
Yeah,
you
they
did you
actually
play
made a
it?
game.
Did you play it when it was free, or did you buy it?
Bought it, and then it became free. I think like a week later. I was like, wow, okay.
Did the same exact thing, FYI. So.
Oh yeah. Okay. How do I put? I didn't know we were actually gonna go into like why they're our favorite games. Okay, so Journey is like. I think Journey just meant a lot to me personally at the time that it came out. I had fallen pretty ill, and I was learning how to walk again, and that game freaking healed me in a lot of ways. Just by playing it and crying it out, I think. It really helped me through like a really dark time. And I played through that game. It's like a 2-hour game, or it's like a 3-hour game, I think. I played through it at minimum 40 times.
Wow. I have not finished it,
I haven't started.
but I have started it.
I have it.
It's
but
super
I haven't
short.
I think I played maybe an
I was
hour
about
or
to
so.
say, yeah, well, then you're like 10 minutes from
You're
finishing
like
it. So
halfway
you should
through. Yeah, like how?
go ahead and finish it.
How do you stop that one?
Before the podcast is over. Finish it. Go for it.
Yeah.
Finish it before
now.
your turn comes back around,
That's right.
which is now.
All right.
Also, the score by Austin Wintory is and will go down as one of the best gaming soundtracks of all time.
It is good. The music is super good.
It's incredible.
I concur.
Yeah, that's my number 4, Journey.
Nice.
It's a good one.
Oh, is it my turn?
Jeef.
Oh, cool. So, I believe this game came out on Dreamcast first. And we may have even played it on Dreamcast, but all of my memories come from the GameCube version. Phantasy Star Online version 1 and version 2. It's only appropriate, combined version 1 and version 2, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's only appropriate that Ivy being on this podcast because we spent many a vacation playing this game.
Yes, we did.
Mhm.
I
Many a
knew
good
that was going to
time.
be on somebody's list somewhere.
Many a broken toilet playing this game.
We spent many vacations playing this game, and in the 355 days in between, getting as far ahead as we could, so we'd be far
Yep.
ahead when we met up with the other people later.
Yep.
Trying to make sure you
playing,
get the memory cards, get the right characters and the right memory cards, so you can play together, and yeah.
Yes.
I remember
Wow.
playing it, and then during the summer, going to work with my dad, and then friends going to work with their parents all at the church just so we could play Phantasy Star on one of the TVs there, at least like all summer. And then we go on vacations and we play it more. And then after playing so much, I was like, there's gold weapons? What is this? Didn't even know. That was like first introduction to like an MMO that I heavily
Yeah.
played.
Yeah.
And I didn't
that's
play it
what
online.
is. Yeah. It's like introductory MMO.
Yep.
Yeah, it so Why do they not have a new one of these? This is what I'm confused
Well, they do.
about.
It's just not in America.
It's just not in America.
Well,
it's on the Switch. You can play it
In Japanese, if you know Japanese.
in Japanese. That's right.
Oh, you mean if you go to the Japanese Switch store? Or?
And it's
No, just
yeah.
in the store.
Is it?
Because there's no region locking anymore. You can download it.
Right, but you have to go to the Japanese store, so you
All
have
right,
to
guys,
have
y'all
a
going to have to finish
Japanese
this
account.
podcast and run. I'll be right back. Just kidding. I was going to go download the game.
Oh, okay.
It was a joke.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
joke.
I know Japanese, so it's
like,
no
what?
problem for me. No.
Yeah, you can search for it in the store. I'm pretty
But
sure.
it is in the you play it through the cloud streaming on the Switch. I do
Right.
know that.
Right.
So that's strange. I don't know if people liked it or how people liked it, or if they've even know what they're pressing or doing because it's all Japanese.
The game
but
itself is
it
pretty
is
good, though.
upsetting that it hasn't come over here yet.
Yes, it is. Very much so. Because, I mean, that's one of those. There's very, very few games that you could come out with and be like, it's $15 a month to play if you wanted to, and I would be down for that. I'm okay with it. That one, I would just, I'd get another job so I could play that game more.
Yes,
I'd
and
do it.
like this game and Left 4 Dead, and then slight spoiler, my number one game. All wanting sequels is like it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So like
Yeah.
hype moment, E3, come on Switch, give it to me in English. Let's go.
Please. I have played this game with the English patch on it on my Alienware or not this game, the Phantasy Star Online version 3, and it's really, really good. I just can't read anything. It's I need it in English. So
That's it. That's my number 4.
good one. I love it.
Here comes Minecraft, Ivy. Give it a go.
So for my number 4, it is definitely not Minecraft.
No.
Nerd.
I know.
Gosh.
I know. And it is Mr. Mosquito. You got it. You got
What?
it. No. I'm kidding. It's Breath of the Wild. So it was one of those games where I felt it had the same feeling that I had when I was a kid about a lot of things, where it was like, for the first, I don't know, it was, the world just kept opening up and I just kept enjoying it, and I kept tricking it and like, kind of glitching it to do things and figuring out ways to solve puzzles that were never meant to be solved that way, but you could just do it. And so it was, at least for me, it reminded me of the first time I'd play some of those games as kids. It reminded me like the first time I played Resident Evil, where I just like in Resident Evil 4, where I was in this wonder, as we talked about, or first time I played even like, I don't know, some of my other games that I really loved. And so, yeah, so Breath of the Wild for me.
Fantastic
Right up
game.
there.
That's awesome.
Fantastic game. And I want to take this opportunity to let everybody know Matthew's Twitter again is at xuser8x.
Mm-hmm.
How many games have you bought and not played Breath of the Wild yet is the question.
That's true. I have not played it yet. There's a very specific reason I haven't played it yet.
Was it
He's a
because you
heathen.
bought Mario plus Rabbids instead?
No.
Oh, hey,
I did buy that, but
That's a
don't
good
diss
game,
that
though.
game. That's
That
a
is a
good
good
The
game.
nerds are revolting against
no, here's the deal. In buying Mario vs. Rabbids, I knew that I could play that game for a day or two here and there. I know when I get Breath of the Wild, it's over for like months. Like,
Yeah.
I know that's going to
Okay.
happen. And so
That's
I'm
fair.
trying to wait until, like, Detroit's not coming out in 3 weeks. And then I'll buy it.
But then
And-
it'll be something else.
But
Well,
you can
maybe
kind of
so.
go back to Breath of the Wild. It's one of those games where I feel like I actually today had the urge to go back and play it. And I didn't, but
Mhm.
It's a fantastic game. I mean, I don't think I've ever spent as much time purposely not even thinking about the story than I have in Breath of the Wild.
Mhm.
I was just like, I don't even care about the story. I don't care where I have to go next. I'm just going to play the game
Yeah.
for just weeks at a time.
and you wander. You just wander and you find things and never stop finding things. Like
No.
it's
Yep.
I'm like, I know I've been here before, but yet I don't know this place. I found this new
Yeah.
valley, or I found this new cove,
Mhm.
or whatever. It's-
And then you actually beat the game, and they're like, you've completed 4% of the map.
yeah, exactly.
Excuse me?
No.
What was that?
I played so much on that game that the Switch stopped counting my hours.
Actually,
It's like it just went to too many. That's what it says. No, I'm just kidding. It didn't say that.
It
But
says
just
nerd. It just says
Just
nerd.
stop.
It says-
No.
nerd.
pops up with a
you
warning
go.
like you should get up and do something or you'll lose use of your body. Like it's gonna shut down on you if you don't go do something.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Yeah.
awesome.
We're in top 3 zone.
Top
we are,
3 zone.
We are going down to the end here.
This
As
is to
Scott
the wire.
Rogalski from HQ would say, we are getting down to the nitty gritty.
That's true. That's true. Cumero numero 3 mo. Number 3 for me is my favorite Uncharted. It's going to be the second Uncharted to hit the list. It's Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, for the PlayStation 4. And the whole Uncharted series, not only are they amazing games, but they are right up my alley. I have board games, video games, movies, anything that's in that like Indiana Jones kind of feel, that theming is just like, I just love that kind of stuff. Just take a little bit of real life history and then let's just go, just run with it and twist it and make it cool. And I love that stuff. And to me, Uncharted 4 was, as far as taking the Uncharted series, it did everything. There was nothing in that game that I was like, man, I wish they would have done that better or this differently. Like every single time you would come across the next section of the map or the next whatever was happening, it was like, whoa, this is awesome. And it was just absolutely incredible. No, I absolutely love it. I think, in my opinion, obviously it's number 3 for me. In my opinion, it's the best game to come out on this generation of consoles. So I think it's absolutely incredible. And
I
a
have something to
shame it
say.
did not win Game of the Year, by the way.
Oh.
What did end up winning? Game of the Year?
Overwatch won, which I love
Oh, it's
Overwatch.
worth
Made
it.
my short list. Not Uncharted 4 good.
Yeah.
So
I have
It's true.
stuff to say about Uncharted.
Do it.
But it's
okay,
it
don't do
goes
it.
with my honorable mentions. It's a whole thing.
Okay, fair point.
I will second that feeling. I think Uncharted as a series is a great series, but I think it wasn't until 4 that they really took the Indiana Jones feel by the horns and completely owned it, and it felt
Yep.
amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, they did a great job.
It was such a
I will say that the 4th was my favorite as well. I mean, they're all basically 10s in my book, but I love 4.
what a gorgeous game too. Holy moly.
The scene where she finds him in the hotel room, I was like, out loud was like, here we go. Here we go. What brilliant writing. Just that whole, just wins.
Yeah, there's
You
a-
get points.
There's
Naughty
a
Dog.
few games that do this. Breath of the Wild is one of them. That you're just playing the game, and then you'll go and look. You'll be on a mountain cliff, or some kind of scenery is just kind of off in the distance, and you stop playing the game and go, "Whoa!" Like that looks amazing. And Uncharted 4 has a lot of those moments. So
Yeah, for sure.
It do.
So yeah, and the multiplayer is not bad either.
no, it's really
Like
good.
it's actually one of those
So
really
fun.
good single player games where the multiplayer doesn't suck.
I agree. And me and you played it a lot, Ivy, and we were terrible at it, and it was still fun.
Yeah, and we played it with our friends watching, and we laughed a lot.
Oh,
like
yes,
they
we
would just
did.
like come in and watch us play.
Mm-hmm. It was great. Fantastic. Cool.
Fantastic.
Number 3, Elise. Minecraft.
Number 3, Minecraft
No,
for
I
the
don't,
PC.
I don't believe it.
No. I didn't sell it that time. I'm sorry. Number 3 is Okami for the PS2.
Nice. Cool.
Okami, if you love
Dogs.
big, yes, if you love dogs, if you love big, grandiose, beautiful adventure games, and you haven't played Okami, fix that.
And you're a nerd.
It is on it is on basically every console that you play, and it's worth your time. It's it is one of the higher rated games from the PS2 era. It's a piece of art. I think this is way back in the day when people were saying that games weren't art, and this game came out and it re-sparked the debate on news and everywhere. it is art and it is a adventure. It's everything happy and beautiful and amazing.
It's on PS4, is it
It
not?
is. Yep, it's on PS4, it's on
Yep.
PC. It's coming to the Switch.
So you can play it. So if you don't play it, you're a nerd. Go for it.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, if you love adventure and kind of Zelda-esque world design.
Zelda was a dog.
That's right.
What would happen?
Minus
Well-
Twilight Princess.
What I was going to say was there were 2 dog action RPGs that came out that year, and Okami. I've never said it that way, but it sounds better than the way I say it. Anyway, there were 2 action RPGs that came out that year, and Okami was the better one, and Zelda was not the better one. So.
That's right.
Nintendogs?
Yeah, that year Okami.
Nintendogs?
Nintendo.
Yeah.
No, Okami.
Same year. Yeah.
Yeah, Okami definitely beat out Zelda that year.
True.
And it's like 80 hours long. I remember getting to the third
so
act of
good.
that game and thinking I'd beat it, and then it's like, nope, there's more. I was
Nope.
like, oh wow, it's a long game, but it's good. It was
so
very good.
Yeah. You like, I was like, I remember getting about halfway through, and there's something that happens like in the story where you think that like this is the end, and it kind of culminates to this thing, and then it's like actually. We're just getting started, and it just expands into this like wonderful world, far past what you imagine, and it's just like I didn't want it to end. It lasted, like you said, like some 60 to 80 hours, but every single step of the way I was like, oh my god, yes, more, please. It was so good.
I learned
it's
way
my
more
number
about
3.
sake than
Ooh.
I knew until.
Oh,
that game,
yeah.
right? So
That's what they call soccer over there.
something like that.
That's what artful dogs call soccer.
No, Nintendo.
Yeah, that's my number 3. What's your number 3, Andrew?
Oh, buddy. It has 3 in the name of it. No, and it's not Resident Evil 3. Halo 3. This
would have been one of the ones I'd have put on my list for you to have on your list.
Yep. So I've probably played that game more than I have. I don't know the hours of time that I put in that game, but my goodness, it happened a lot. That was the first online game that I actually played that ran well. If that makes sense. When the Dreamcast came out, I remember going over to Ivy's place of residence, where his family stayed, and he stayed there as well, and trying to
I did.
play NFL 2K, whatever it was, online, and I'm just kind of watching, and there's something else I don't remember. And then at our house in the mountains with dial-up, trying to watch Matthew play EverQuest online, it just
Holy
stuff
moly.
didn't work. This was just dial-up plus consoles and gaming not being in the online mode yet. And then 360 came out, we still had dial-up, so I couldn't really play anything. So when we moved and got real internet, like all 3 megabits per second that we got, Halo was the first like real online game that I could play, and I just remember being like, I'm not good at this game. Like, I played the campaign, I beat it on Legendary. Certainly playing people online can't be that difficult. And
It's a different game altogether, isn't it?
it was, but oh my goodness, the amount of hours I spent in that game, the online tournaments that we played, just the funs and the laughs, and the things that were said on mics and the things that I heard on mics, it just all accumulated to just the best, my opinion, the best Halo game. But I can also say I didn't play Halo 1 or 2 online because of the reasons I just listed, but
Yeah.
Halo 3 is just sticking somebody with a sticky grenade. If that's all the game was, it still would have been number 3 on my list.
Put it this way, that is not the kind of game I usually gravitate towards. The Call of Duty, Halo, just first-person shooter, just to try to kill more than the other team can as fast as you can. And I played that game a ton because it was so good. So that said something about a game.
Now, I will say, because Overwatch is not on my honorable mentions, but I was like, Overwatch has the potential to kind of like maybe be on the list, but I was like, I don't want to put Overwatch on the list because Halo 3 They both give me the similar vibes. Overwatch was the first game to come out with this new generation of consoles.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually a good online multiplayer shooter.
With incredible support.
Yeah. And it's probably a better made game, but
Oh yeah, definitely.
time will tell on that. But
Mhm.
Overwatch gives me the same feels now as Halo did back in the day, where you're just like, all right, everybody, we're getting online, or back then it was either we get online and play, or you just play with your friends and you would just do 4-player split screen and just have the time of your life. But
That was good, man. It was good.
number 3. Drop the bomb, nerds.
All right, so my number 3 is one that I actually talked about a lot last time I was on the podcast, and that was Shenmue. Shenmue is my number 3 all time.
Nice.
And it's revolutionary, like we talked about before. It's revolutionary. If you like QTEs, it started it. It's the first, it blew my mind as the first kind of open world game that I experienced in 3 dimensions, and just there's so much to do, and it actually reminds me of Christmas. So there's a story a little bit to it. I wanted the game, and I asked for it from my parents, and they kind of acted like they didn't get it for me, but I snuck into their room, and I went into their closet, and I found it, and I knew they got it for me. And then on Christmas Day, I think my mom figured out that I had done that, and so she hid it underneath another present, like inside a box, and so I didn't think I got it. She's like, oh, wait, maybe you should go check that box over there that you already opened, and I realized that she had done a little secret compartment
Pranked.
thing. Yep. And so I actually thought they had returned it because they knew that I went in their closet and found the video game.
And
So,
Ashton Kutcher pops in there and is like, we pranked you.
yeah, that actually happened with Ashton Kutcher. It was really weird. Like, what are you doing in my house, dude? Get out of here.
This just goes with the theme of all these old games with wonderful voice acting. Father.
Did you see The Sailors?
But I will say,
No.
I will say, voice acting wise,
No.
just the sheer amount of voice acting in this game was crazy for that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it was
So
revolutionary. There's better games since then, but
Yeah.
it was revolutionary.
Mm-hmm.
We had a story kind of where our dad bought it, but then he didn't like what it was, like the ratings and what it was rated
Yeah, it
for
was-
and stuff. So
it
he's
was
like, I'm not going to
mature.
get it to you.
Lots
But
of
he just
language
had
and
it in the
stuff.
van underneath the seat the whole time. We were just like, well, it's right there. We know it's.
Mhm. He bought it for me
Ended up
for my
getting it.
birthday, and then was like, "Oh wait, it's got this in it." Just kidding. And I was like, "I'm gonna steal my birthday present."
I find it interesting you don't say Shenmue as like the pronunciation,
No,
because I've
that's-
heard that.
That's the whale.
Those
at
people are
SeaWorld.
wrong. They're wrong. Yeah, they're thinking Shamu.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Wait, are you telling me it's Shenmue?
No, I'm not telling you that. I am
Okay.
not. I promise.
No.
I
Okay.
promise.
People
She
that
has
don't
weird
know what it
names.
is pronounce.
I've just heard it Shenmue.
So I had friends that pronounce things in ways like that, and it's
You did.
Yeah, it's thinking way too hard about it. I think.
I
I
guess.
think it's just
Yeah.
Shenmue. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Well, it's also, but we can go, is it Ryu or is it Ryu?
Well, in
Mm-hmm.
Shenmue, it's Ryu.
Yeah. Real lucky.
We'll
right.
see.
Cool.
Only time will tell.
Are we on number deuce? Are we on number two?
We're on.
I think we're on number 2. My number 2.
Yeah, that
the
was that
dudes.
the last 3?
I think that was the last
Which-
3. Everybody else is on
Shenmue
3,
is your
right?
number 3. Oh my goodness.
Yep. So, my number 2 game
I
has
know it
already
should have
been
been number
mentioned.
1.
It's already been mentioned,
Too late
and
now.
it is hands down out of all the games on this list the game that I've put the most time into. And Andrew already spoke about it a little bit. And that's Phantasy Star Online, and I went ahead and went with versions 1 and 2 for the GameCube. Yeah, this was that game where back in the memory card life, you would play a game like, oh man, I got 117 hours on this character, and then you'd play something different, and then you'd lose that memory card, and then you'd make another character later and do another 120 hours on them. And I did that I don't know how many times. I love this game so much that I was looking up to buy it and to buy a Wii to play it like less than a month ago.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
because I still have my Wavebird just sitting here, ready to go. But yeah, it was just like Andrew said. We never played the game online. It's an MMO that we never played online, and I played more than any other game that's ever existed.
Yeah.
So it's just
I ended
crazy.
up playing it online, but yeah, because I had the Dreamcast. I had my Dreamcast hooked up to online. Yeah, but did you ever play Card Battle?
Yes,
version
we
3,
did.
you mean?
Yeah, version 3.
And I
Card
really
Battle.
like it.
Yeah.
It's not the
Yeah, I
same.
played a lot of.
But
No,
really
it's not
good.
the same at all. No, but it's totally different. But I loved it, and
Yeah,
I put
exactly.
like 70 hours into it, and my sister tripped over the power cord for the GameCube.
Which
Speaking
one?
of memory card
What
problems,
sister?
the one with the most red hair.
Okay.
Nope. Let's get her.
She tripped over the power cord, and it totally destroyed my memory card. It corrupted it, and I lost 70 hours worth of gameplay, and never picked up the game again.
Oh.
Never talk to
Nope.
that sister again.
And then you beat her up so much that you broke her memory.
Yeah,
And
I've done something worse to my sister, or it's like the same. It's not worse. I mean, that as badass. It's like a horrible thing. We used to have this Spyro game for the Game Boy Advance, and she got 99% of the way through that game.
Oh no!
And because she wouldn't let me play it until she had beaten it, and she was 99% through it. I didn't know that she was 99%, like she was just about done. And I took the game and I misplaced it, and it was completely lost forever.
Wow.
After I played it that one time, and she was at 99%, and I don't know if she's ever forgiven me for that, actually.
Probably not. Probably not.
She's still, like, she doesn't know the ending to that game, and she
Wow.
was so close.
She's lost in time right now.
She's
No.
Can't
feels
continue
so
on with my
awful.
life.
Oh, Katie, if you're listening, please forgive me. I'm so sorry.
No.
It's never gonna happen.
She just needs more time. No, but back to Phantasy Star though. Andrew said earlier about like that whole moment where he's like, "Oh, there's gold weapons," or like, "Are you kidding me?" And it's just one of those games that every time I picked it up and played seemingly farther than I had played before, I was still finding newer, rarer type items. And it's like, how long can this go on? This is a just huge game. So it was fantastic. So good.
You could keep fighting dragons and sea monsters as many times, and it never got old.
All right, Elise, number 2.
Okay. Number 2.
Shenmue.
Minecraft.
No. It released for the PS3, but I played it on the PS4. It is The Last of Us.
Nice.
This one.
That's my number 2 game of all time, which is crazy because I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. I knew that there was like excitement around the game, but when I played it, I was, sometimes you kind of get all up in your opinions, and you're like, oh well, I've played a lot of games that other people have liked, and I don't know if this will affect me, or you feel like you pretend like you're jaded or whatever. And this game just completely took me by the wayside. It just completely came out of the blue, and it hits you in every area it should as a game. And I will never forget the impact that it had on me as a person and as a gamer. It's the only game that I've platinumed on the PS4. I'm not one for trophies. I just played that game so much, and figured, well, I have 2 trophies left, may as well. I love it on Grounded. I love it on everything. I love every single piece of that game. I have all of the AI down, like memorized. You tell me a level, I'll tell you how to get through it. It is like it is etched into me. It's a
Wow.
Yeah. It's my number 2.
Nice.
It's a really
It's a good
good
game.
Really good game.
Yeah.
It's my favorite
argue.
Naughty Dog game.
Yep.
I'll say that
It
much.
did not
Yeah,
even
me
make
too.
my paper, but it's
Well,
not because of
you need to
how
leave.
it's not because of the goodness or not goodness of the game. It's just the Uncharted theme is more up my alley. That's one of those games that I've played through more than once, being The Last of Us, and gone, this game is excellent. The Uncharted games are more for me. If that makes sense at all.
That's fair. No, absolutely.
I'm stoked for part 2 as well.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be fantastic.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'll definitely play it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is it me turn?
It is your turn.
Oh, it's me turn. Okay. Number 2 could have almost been number 1, but ended up being number 2. Pokemon Red/Blue.
I was wondering if Pokemon was going to make the list.
Oh, but it did. And mainly because not the fact that it was just a good game, but just what it spawned. Just like from the game went to the anime, went all the other games, went the movies to the cards. Like it all started for me with Pokemon Red and Blue and just went on from there. So it's just pretty insane. We went over to a friend's house and he had it, and we played it there for the first time. And then our mom picked us up and we were like, we need this game right now. So we got the game right now. Really didn't know how to play it, so we just got Bulbasaur and leveled him all the way up to Venusaur and just kind of wrecked people with it.
We were young, so it's kind of a little more excusable. But we like whined and cried and begged my mom to stop and buy us that game on the way home. Like
When
I
she picked you up, you're like, woman, bring me to the EB
Listen.
games. Bring me to the
Listen.
Babbages right now.
no, it was Walmart.
We can do
We
this
went to
one of
Walmart.
2 ways.
That's how bad we
We
wanted
went to
that game.
Walmart.
We bought it at Walmart.
Yeah.
Like listen, woman, we can do this one or 2 ways. You can either just go buy us this game, or you're gonna have to deal with the most difficult children you've ever had to deal with your entire life.
And she did the second option until she did the first one. That's when she did.
Such a good game. I really, honestly, didn't even play it and understand like how it worked and what I was doing until Pokemon Yellow, but it all started with Red and Blue. If I had to pick one, I'd pick Red just because I like Charizard better. But
Charizard.
And I would pick blue.
and then yeah, I mean that's why I still wear a Kanto jacket to this day every day. So
Andrew got engaged.
Did you play
in
the
Team Rocket?
Did you
shirt,
play the
okay.
Pokemon cards?
I more so I guess
did.
we did,
did.
but we more so collected than we did play.
Yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh's another
yeah.
story, but that's
You
for
get a
Andrew.
different story. I played the crap out of you. But yeah, Pokemon was more of a collection of
Mhm.
sorts than it was a playing of sorts. But
Did you
Still.
have a holographic Charizard?
I did not, and I have a fantastic story of Harris, who is the person that had Pokemon originally, which we played it first at his house.
Yes.
We were at a Greenville Braves game, and his dad was like, this was Pokemon was blown up even more than it is now. At the concessions, they had Pokemon card packs.
Wow.
So his dad bought us both a card pack. He got a first edition holographic Charizard for his rare card. I got an item finder, and I was very salty. So that's how that went. But love me some Pokemon. Stoked whether the Switch version's going to be new gen or old gen. I really don't care. Just want them.
yeah, so Ben had a holographic Japanese Charizard.
Oh, buddy.
That's my brother, by the way. So.
Yes.
I ended up getting a Venusaur in a pack. That's by far the best card I ever got growing up in a pack. Was a holographic Venusaur.
This
That
needs
was
to
dope.
happen. Andrew, so your favorite starter Pokemon, Charmander, right?
Yep. Yep.
What about everyone else?
Charmander.
Charmander? Okay. I was a Bulbasaur.
From the first, right? From
Yep,
Kanto?
from the first one.
I I can't remember what I picked. It wasn't Charizard though. I think I might have picked Squirtle actually.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all great. Still the best. Still the best game of theirs.
Mewtwo is the best Pokemon though. Also the best cat because I named my cat
Oh my
Mewtwo.
gosh. Mew and Mewtwo were, I think, the best legendaries. They truly felt like beyond
Oh yeah.
Legendary.
the other Pokemon. Yeah.
They are.
Awesome. All right, number 2s. Where are we at now, Ivy?
We're at Ivy's number 2.
Well, we've already talked about this one a lot. Resident Evil 4 is my number 2 game of all time.
Wow.
Yeah. It as we've already mentioned before, it was one of those revolutionary games. I remember getting the demo and I remember playing through the very first village probably 20, 30 times before the game actually ended up coming out. And and then ended up playing through the game 4 or 5 times on the GameCube alone, and then more times on the Wii.
Yeah.
And then it spawned getting Resident Evil 5, which Matt and I had a lot of fun playing together, although it wasn't as good of a game, but it was a lot of fun
different.
to play together. It was.
It was different. It almost made my list. Because I said it earlier, I'm a sucker for co-op, and that is as co-op as you can get.
Yeah. So it definitely spawned my love for Resident Evil, so much so that I ended up buying Resident Evil 6, which is Resident Evil Giraffe, and that one is really bad. So,
see, I like Resident Evil so much that I still like 6. I don't think it's great, but I still
Now,
like it.
Leon's campaign is not awful, but the rest is pretty awful, in my opinion, for 6.
yeah, I tried to like it. I really did.
The first time I ever saw Resident Evil 4 was when we were on vacation, and Ben was playing it on the GameCube, your brother. And I was like, what the heck is that? And he's like, it's Resident Evil 4. And he also introduced us to the band May that vacation, which is the best band of all time.
There you
That
go.
was a good vacation.
That was
It's a
good.
great
So-
vacation.
Yeah, and it also reminds me of college, because that's when that was like the game that I played my entire sophomore and junior year. That was like it. Me and my friends just repeatedly beat it over and over and over again.
Yep.
So,
See, I know how much you loved Resident Evil 4 because of what you just mentioned about how it spawned your love for Resident Evil and getting Resident Evil 5. I remember you not having a 360 until Resident Evil 5 was coming out, and you're like, okay, I'll buy
Yes.
it because Resident Evil 5 is coming out. I'll buy a 360.
and I bought it used, and it had Red Ring of Death almost immediately.
Because
so
they
I
all
would
did.
end up baking it in an oven to get it to work again, and then I would play Resident Evil 5 until it messed up, Red Ring of Death, and then I'd put it back in the oven, and then I'd do it again.
Nintendo loved the idea so much they made Cookin' Mama.
You
like,
think I'm kidding?
onto something
Dead
there.
serious, bro. Yeah.
Yay.
And I would take apart the PlayStation, the Xbox, and I'd put the little goo on the chip. I can't remember what it's called, but the heat sink stuff to cool it down. Until I finally beat Resident Evil 5. Yeah.
It's a miracle those things sold so much.
Yeah. Since we are bringing up Resident Evil for another time, I do want to mention that on the Switch, if you are looking for a co-op Resident Evil experience, they have Revelations 1 and 2, and especially 2. It's co-op mode. There's like this whole, it's called raid mode. It's in plenty of
Raid
other...
mode is fantastic.
Yes. It's so fun to play. You just freaking put on music. You put on the podcasts like these. And you just chill with your friends and kill zombies. It's so fun.
It's good.
So
I
if you
thought
are
you were
looking
gonna
for
say-
that...
I thought
I
you
was
were
gonna
going to
say it's
say
on the
that
Switch.
it is. I thought you were going to say that Resident Evil Revelations 2 co-op was better than Revelations, which is not true.
No.
The raid mode is fantastic. The story of Revelations 2 co-op is like, okay, you, player 1, you get all the guns and weapons. Player 2, you just like point at the bad guys and say, "Da, da, there they are." But co-op for the story for Revelations 1 is fantastic, and raid mode is amazing.
Raid mode is... I would really highly suggest it if you're looking for kind of like a current fix for your co-op.
Co-opiness.
Co-opiness.
Awesome. Yeah.
Very
Good
interesting.
choice. All right, so are we to the number ones?
We're to the number ones.
Our
We've made
favorite
it to
games of all
promised
time.
land.
All right, so let's do this before each of our number ones. Let's go ahead and why don't you guys take some guesses at what my number one would be. If you get it correct, you get a point. The points will do nothing for you.
I don't know. Sonic, maybe?
No.
This is hard for me because I barely know you.
That's true. Andrew, you should know. Ivy, you should know.
I probably do know, but
You do.
brain farting, so,
All right, no guesses?
I would
You gotta go ahead,
maybe
Andrew. You go first.
Sonic the Hedgehog
No.
1? Or is it a Sega game?
Oh, we're
It
doing
is a
20
Sega-
questions.
It is a Sega game. Yes, sure. We'll go with that.
Crazy Taxi.
Oh, is
Sorry.
that? I'm about to say,
No.
you love Crazy Taxi. That might be it.
I'm surprised I haven't got
Number
it
one.
because it's already been mentioned more than once. My favorite game of
Oh,
all
I know
time
what it is.
is Shenmue.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say it, but I was like, nah, he would have. No.
No,
okay.
that's my one, and it's really not close. It's that's the one game that I can look back, and more than every other game I've ever played, I go, that changed my opinion of video games more than any other game I've ever played. It was just, as you mentioned earlier, Ivy, just revolutionary in a lot of the things it did, but also just that was the first game that I ever played that was, all right, you woke up, now go do what you want to do. Like, not in an Animal Crossing way where you're just trying to earn bells or whatever, but go do what you want to do. Also, there's like a legit real story, like some serious stuff happening that you should probably go figure out. So that should be one of the things you go do. Not, spend all your money on toys and arcades, even though that's what you did anyways.
Yes.
But no, it's
Would you like to
absolutely
play
my
a game of
favorite.
Lucky Hit?
And I remember a couple years ago at E3 when they announced that they were coming out with a third one. Me and Andrew were in a movie theater actually.
We're in Elise's home country.
Oh, are we not
Yeah.
now?
We are, but
We were in Columbus.
Yep.
And we were in a movie theater that they were showing the E3 Sony thing live, and like gave us passes as if we were pretending to be there. And it was just such an interesting reveal of a new game coming out, because everyone that had played Shenmue and Shenmue 2 went bonkers, and everyone else went, "What is that?"
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my god.
it was the most, like, it was just so split of a reaction. It couldn't be more different. Because it was not, it wasn't like the people that knew it went bonkers and the other people are like, oh, we don't care. It was the other people were like, I don't even know what's happening. What game is that? Like, they had no idea. And I cannot wait, and I cannot wait for the remakes because I get to play them again this year. So,
Dude,
can't wait.
I pre-ordered that thing so fast. The second I heard the da-da-na-na-na-da-da-da, I was like, oh.
Yep.
And
You see
I'd already pre-ordered
it
it.
was pre-ordered before it said.
Yeah. I got my phone out of my
Before
pocket
it
to
even
pre-order it, and it was like, you just pre-ordered it. I was like, I thought so. Thank you.
Yep.
So that's my number one of all times.
All the time.
I have a
all the
bad
times.
feeling that I'm going to get Shenmue 3 and I'm going to be disappointed because my expectations are far too high.
I don't have
I
expectations with it.
think that as well, but I think because I've been thinking that it's going to be bad for so long that it's lowered my expectations.
So it's going to be good.
So it'd be pretty good.
I think playing through
Okay.
1 and 2 again will bring your expectations back to what the game is. Because, the farther you get removed from a game, lots of times you just think about it and what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know.
Romanticize.
There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. You romanticize the game, just kind of make it just this crazy beast, and then when you go back and play it, you're like, oh yeah, these graphics were this, and which was amazing at the time, but not now, and
Right.
all those different things. And I think playing through those again before 3 comes out will maybe bring you back to realistic expectations. I think. I think as long as the story's good, I'm gonna be fine with it. It's just one of those games. I promise you, when it comes out, I'm not gonna not like it. If that makes sense.
If the voice acting is good, I'm shutting it off, and I am not playing.
It's not Shenmue then. It's not
Just
Shenmue.
the way he drinks Jet Cola.
I want a Jet Cola shirt so bad.
I have one.
I
I'm
know
sure
you
it's
do.
out there.
It is. Andrew has one.
I own it.
What?
And now
The
and now you
only-
can't return it.
Awesome. All right, Elise, number 1. I don't even know where to pretend to guess. I think Andrew's
Take a
Minecraft.
guess, my friends.
Our guesses are going to have to be from what your other 9 were. So.
I'm gonna do more 20 questions. Is it a very Japanese game?
I don't like these 20 questions.
Is it Minecraft?
It's Minecraft.
No. I'm going to say... I'm going to guess. Persona 5.
Ooh, man. I love Persona 5, but that is not my number 1.
At least you made a noise that sounded like it was a good guess.
Oh, yeah. I love Persona.
Well, I got some honorable mentions for some Personas, let me tell
I
you.
haven't played 5 yet,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
want to.
Oof.
You going to throw out a
should.
guess, Ivy?
It is Japanese, yes.
I knew it.
Mario
There's no way
Kart Double Dash.
Ooh, man, you guys are hitting me with the good games. I wish it was Double Dash, but that's not my number 1.
Well, it could be. You
Andrew?
could just change it on the fly.
I don't know.
Zynga.
I just my brain's just going a mile an hour.
I'm going to switch mine to Zynga's Texas Hold'em on the phone.
Texas Hold'em 2006 for the GameCube.
Yeah, Tetris, actually.
It's
All right.
not. It's not gonna. It's not
Kingdom
the Lost
Hearts.
Guardian. Oh, there it was. He got
Who said it?
Got it.
Kingdom Hearts.
Ivy! Boy,
You win?
Yes.
you win!
Is it just like the first one?
Yeah, the first Kingdom Hearts for the PS2.
Nice.
That's my favorite one. I know, like, objectively, Kingdom Hearts has the more integrated combat, easier to understand level design. I know for some people that's an issue. Kingdom Hearts 1 is, yeah. It is I don't even know how to say it.
11 out of 10.
Yeah, it's 11 out of 10. It's if you don't know what Kingdom Hearts is, Kingdom Hearts is this weird collaboration that happened between Square and Disney. They combined Final Fantasy and Disney characters into a game, and for some odd reason it worked, and it spawned this huge series. But the first game to me had this genuine sense of adventure. There's no map, there's no quest markers, there's no anything like that. Like, you have to listen to and pay attention kind of to the world around you, and it helps you kind of like immerse yourself in this place. Level design, it's not like you have to think, you have to put your mind to use in a lot of places to get around, but it's not like a game you can kind of sit back and just kind of drone through. But the combat, oh yeah, the combat feels so good. The story touches your heart. It's my happy place. That's my number 1.
Nice.
Can't argue
I
with
bet
that.
you're wondering how I guessed your number 1. You're
I'm
probably
wondering.
I went on your Twitter and I searched through your media and saw that you had several Kingdom Heart GIFs, and so I was like, that's probably it.
Bet you, because I'm psychic.
Also, very Japanese.
Bet you know that.
Yeah.
And it's very Japanese. Those two things
Yeah.
together.
Wow. Okay.
That's it.
Well, you
Dang.
cheated, so that's not cool.
You're on to me. You're on to
Points redacted.
Redact.
me. You nailed it.
I can't argue with that.
Awesome.
I'll be
call.
honest, I've
Nobody
never played. I played Kingdom Hearts something on Wii or something. I don't even know. Did it come on Wii? I have no idea. It was on.
So it's been on PS2, Game Boy Advance, DS, 3DS,
I don't know.
PSP. That's it.
4DS.
Yeah. So anyway, I played it on PS2, I guess, and I played it for like 10 minutes and didn't get it, and that's it. So I have no background for it, but I hear that it is a wonderful game.
Yep.
Yeah, Kingdom
Everyone
Hearts
that's played
3
it.
coming out this year.
I will say
It's
that
one of those games, genre of games, and just has the crazy people. Not every Not every game can have the crazy people, but Kingdom Hearts has the crazy people.
Yeah, they do. I will say it.
And that's how you know you're on something.
Takes the cake for number one worst names of sequels in any game.
Of course.
That is
Like
there.
Kingdom Hearts 2.34 coming out. Like, what? Why? Like,
Well, yeah, they started doing the decimal places when they started like republishing the games.
yeah.
I don't understand why you wouldn't just call it a master collection or something so much
I don't know.
simpler than
You're on
2.8.
You're on Final Fantasy 15. Why can you not do that with Kingdom Hearts?
I know.
No time.
No time.
Fun stuff.
All right, Andrew,
But-
you're up.
Andrew, that's right.
I think everybody knows what my number one is.
I know
Young
Shenmue.
Guns Galaxy. Shamu.
Andrew
Sonic Racing R.
Shenmue 2.
Ooh.
Shenmue 2 for the Xbox.
My number one game of all time for the GameCube is Universal Studios.
I know you love Universal Studios, but I can't imagine that's your number one.
I learned Universal
Shrek.
Studios
Because of the game.
from that game. And when we went there, I was like, I know where everything is.
And it is no longer that.
It is not.
Um,
Number one game
Is
for
it a-
all. Well, you are half right. It's Shenmue 2.
Told
The
you.
second one.
Knew that one.
For all pretty much
Okay.
all the reasons that y'all like the first one, I like the second one. I mostly
it's good. It's
watched
a better game.
I mostly watched the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I played it, but I more so watched Matthew play it
Mm-hmm.
because he was better at games because he was older and he would progress the story much faster than I did. So I more so watched that happen. So when Shenmue 2 came out, I already knew the story. I already knew all the goodies. I knew where the sailors were. I knew where they hung out. Knew who they dated. I knew what they ate. I knew who their family was. I knew all of it. So when Shenmue 2 came out, I was like, oh, I can play this thing right now. And so me and Joy hopped on her bicycle and we rode away into Fairyland.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm. Into Fairyland.
And so, yeah, pretty much all the same reasons y'all liked Shenmue 1. It's just the story progressed. I played it on Xbox. It came out on Dreamcast, but I played it on the OG Xbox. Really, we played, I think, Jet Set Radio
Mm-hmm.
and Shenmue 2 on Xbox, and I think we got rid of it. I think we literally got it, played those two games, got rid of it.
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
so my story about Shenmue 2 is I walked into our, at that point, I think was it EB Games, later became a GameStop, and they had a like Japanese section where they had imported games, and they had Shenmue 2 there as an imported game for like $100 and something. It was crazy. And I traded in every game that I had and every dollar I had so I could get that, just to realize that I couldn't play it on my Dreamcast without a like import disc, so, you know, where you put it in and then you have to take it out and put the other disc in and all that stuff. And then I had to buy that, and so that took like 2 weeks to get it shipped to me from wherever. It was before Amazon, so anyway. But yeah,
From Japan.
yeah, it didn't come from Japan, but I remember it took a while to get to me, so I just looked at
Japan-Amazon.
that case.
Japan.
I still have it, actually. The Shenmue, I have Shenmue 2 down in my
Man, that's awesome.
game
We,
holder.
I'm jelly.
I have it on. I have the Xbox one still. The one
Yep.
we purchased.
We never
Still
get rid of
comes
that.
with the disc for the Shenmue movie, which is
Mhm.
just all the cutscenes from the first game, all the fathers, and all the sailors,
And Tom.
and Tom Jiggin, Tom Daylight.
So, yeah, I still have 2 Dreamcasts, so
I have one.
one doesn't
that
have a
works.
modem.
Yeah, it's just it's the same thing Matthew said. Where there's nothing really close, and I could have easily put Shenmue 1 on here because I have since played it, not just watched it all the way through. So I could have easily put Shenmue 1 on here, but I didn't want to. I mean, I needed space, so you know.
Yep.
Space. Yep,
See,
totally.
it's not even an issue, but the reason Shenmue 2 is way lower than the first one for me is because of what you just said about us having the Xbox, playing a game and ditching it. I played Shenmue 2 through one time fairly quickly, and I I don't remember near as much about that game as I do the first one, and I'm looking forward to the 1 and 2 re-release more so that I can play Shenmue 2 again and be like, kind of rediscover it and be like,
You know, remember fighting that dude in that jail cell, or I don't know, warehouse, wherever you were at the end?
Yeah, I
where it's
remember
like that was like one of the first boss fights that was actually extremely difficult for me. That I, like, you beat him and I'm like, oh my gosh, finally. I've never spent this much on a boss fight in my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And then he rips off his shirt and gets all his health back. And I'm like, what? No!
This can't be.
And then finally beating him and just being like, I am the master. So, yeah.
I love how you're like, I think I'm in a jail, like in your memory. It's
In
not
the-
jail.
My memory, I was in prison.
It was a prison in your mind.
It was a mind
I just remember it being extremely difficult.
That's awesome. Good call.
Good stuff.
So we got one more left. We got Ivy, huh?
Yes. You guys gonna
What?
take a guess?
Duck hunt.
Shenmue was on your list already, correct?
Yep. It already was. Yeah.
Hey, Ivy, what's your Twitter? Just
Yeah,
it's an
it won't be on
unrelated
there.
question.
At
Completely.
Geek Ivy Rhodes. So that's RHODES. So it won't give you any hints.
Mm-hmm. Ivy
Okay,
is an
let's-
IV with an EY. on the
EY,
end.
yeah,
Yeah.
We're not going like Are we
Okay,
going
I see.
old. Like, is this an old school game?
Okay, so it is not an old school game.
Okay.
Okay, I was gonna say like the original Mario, maybe Mario Brothers. Mario Brothers, Super Mario
I think
3.
I'm so old. No.
Oh, wait. Can I take a guess?
Super Mario.
You can
3,
take a
okay.
guess.
Oh. I'm gonna be wrong, but I just want to take a stab at it. Okay.
The Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, okay. I get to ask you one question since one question
Yes.
was asked of
Is it
me.
Japanese?
Do you like Zelda?
Yeah, he already had Breath of the
I
Wild.
do like Zelda.
What number was Breath of the Wild for you?
Number 4.
Number 4. So
Wind Waker.
Because
Ocarina of Time.
because you're the type of person
No.
that would enjoy this game so much and do it, I'm gonna go on a limb and say Mario Maker.
Mario Maker. Okay.
'Cause I know you played that a
no
lot.
Maker Maker.
Oh,
It's
we're
not
all
Mario
failures.
Maker. No.
Okay.
You all. It's
Hold on,
not going
is
to be.
it-
what-
Is it the better one, Majora's Mask?
No, I have played that, but now it's not. So I did like Andrew, where I kind of thought I don't want to, have multiple games on the list that are from the same thing. So if there's one Shenmue, there's only one.
Can I throw another
I'd
guess
put
then?
Shenmue
Yeah.
2. Yeah, one more guess, sure.
Smash.
No. Although I did put too many hours into that game too.
And there's a lot of
So it's gonna be
Rock Band.
it's- Oh my gosh, no! Number 1 is Portal, the very first Portal.
Oh, shoot.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went into it not really knowing anything. I'd heard the song that people were singing or whatever, but I didn't get it and I didn't understand it, and I went into it, and then there's a twist right in the middle, and my mind just blew, and I was like, I cannot believe this is happening, and yeah, I just loved it. I loved it, and I think Portal 2 is actually a better game, like in terms of the games and the puzzles and all that stuff. But I think Portal 1, the story is just so good, and it's so short. Like, it's only a few hours long, maybe like 5-6 hours long, but
Depending on how good you are.
yeah, depending on how good you are. But yeah, it just it's probably my favorite game.
That's a
it
good one.
caught me by surprise. We'll say that.
Yeah, for sure. That game came on my Alienware that I got, and that's how I ended up playing it. It's a really, really good game. I would not have thought to put it on this list because I don't know that I liked it that much. But it like you said, it's one of those games that you play and it just makes you it forces you to think differently to win, and it's really cool.
And that, like, I played maybe 5 minutes of it and immediately realized I don't want to have the brain power to play this game. Like, this game is so far above what I want to do right now at that moment. I was like, not happening.
Andrew was still sitting at the cool table.
Yeah,
I was not at the cool table for a little bit there.
I was. I remember at the end just like staring at the screen after it was over and just being like, "Whoa, what did I just do? This is incredible." So there's a few games that have been like that, and that was one of them. Anyway, so there you go.
That's a good.
Well.
One. I like it.
Those
Wordle.
were
Great
our
choice.
top 10s. That's fantastic.
Amazing.
Can we quickly run through our honorable
Yeah.
mentions since we've only been doing this for forever?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I actually did
Freaking
it.
lightning round.
I accidentally did a top 20 just because that's what happened. So I'm just going to run. I'm going to say 20 down to 11 for me. My 20 was Rock Band 3. As much time as we put into that, Andrew. Holy
I had
moly.
Rock Band as one of my honorable mentions. The
And
first
3,
one.
I think, is the one we played by far the most.
Yeah, it was.
19 was Left 4 Dead for the 360. 18, Borderlands 2. I told you I'm a sucker for co-op.
That's
and
really good.
That was a
Really
good one.
game too.
17, I didn't want to put multiple games, so I picked my favorite one, Tony Hawk 4. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 was my favorite one.
Dogs are good.
16 is the newest game, I believe, on my list that's not Uncharted, and that is Firewatch for the PS4. That game was incredible. Just really short, great storytelling type game. Excellent. 15 was Ocarina of Time, Legend of Zelda. That's my favorite until I play Breath of the Wild. I'm pretty sure that's going to pass it, if I'm honest. Not that I have high expectations. But 14, a game I still play, Rocket League. It's just, man, it's so good.
That's a good one.
Ivy's really good at that game.
He is best.
13 is a game I played through with Ivy. We mentioned already, Resident Evil 5. 12 is my favorite racing game. I went Gran Turismo 3. I put a lot of hours into that. A whole lot of hours. And
Could have been
then,
Hello Kitty, but you ruined it.
well, right outside
Hello
my
Kitty
top
Kart
20
Racers.
was Sega GT, which was similar. But and then number 11, I put Pokemon Blue. So right outside the top 10.
Well, that's where you goofed right there. Should have been in the top 10.
So that's my honorable mentions.
Dang. All right. I have a bunch. I'm just gonna list them.
Do it.
Let them loose.
Sly 2,
Okay.
So good.
so good. Mass Effect 2,
Still good.
That was good.
Halo.
Super good.
yeah. Halo ODST,
Hey.
Super good.
Resident Evil 7,
Yep. Uh-huh.
Dynasty Warriors. Basically everything up till 8. I
Okay.
love them. I don't know why I'm a sucker for those, but I am.
Fair.
God of War 2, Portal 1 and 2,
There you go.
Dang.
Civilization 3,
Nice. I didn't even think about those.
yeah, Final Fantasy 10,
Hey.
The Walking Dead Season 1,
Yeesh.
and then I'll just run through these quick. Mega Man 2, Katamari Damacy, Fatal Frame, Silent Hill 2, Amnesia The Dark Descent, Animal Crossing, Lion King NES, Aladdin NES, Myst, Fable 2.
Cool.
Fable games. Fable 3 could have been. Okay, so now that y'all are saying all these games, there's a lot I missed on my honorable mentions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was so hard to get just 10.
All right, I'm going to try and brain. I don't know what to say anymore. I'm just going to go through these. Uncharted 4 was my favorite of the Uncharted. Could have been any of them, though. I had Shenmue. Destiny, PS4. The Last of Us. I put God of War, PS4. Now, I have a tiny story about this. I was going to put Uncharted 4 was on my list for a long time. And then I was like, but wait a second, The Last of Us is better than any of the Uncharted's. So I put The Last of Us on there, and I was like, I think God of War is better than The Last of Us. So I could not make up my mind between Uncharted 4, The Last of Us, and God of War, which game was better. So I left them all off my list, but that
Wow.
was my story.
Wow.
Had Resident Evil 4. I had Persona 4 Golden, the Vita version.
Right,
on
the
my
best
list.
Version.
I had it on my list. It is the best version. But then I have not finished Persona 5 yet, still, because I'm a slacker.
That's fair.
And I was like, I think it, just from what I've played, I think it might be better in Persona 4. So for that reason, I took it off. So to be determined what happens there. Pokemon Snap.
Nice.
Ooh.
Should be on the Switch, by
first-
the way. Just saying.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
That was another one of those games where it's like I go to school and eat lunch and he's like, oh man, did you take a picture? Did you see the smoke that's coughing? I'm like, what?
I hit a Snorlax with an apple.
Yeah, it was just keep back and forth from school every day, like trying to accumulate where all these Pokemon worlds. Fantastic. The first Rock Band on there, Sonic Adventure. Shout out to the Chows,
That's so
my
good.
homies.
VMU.
then last
man,
but-
play on a VMU.
That's right. Last but not least, Mario Party 3.
Good one. Good call.
Nice.
Good call.
Very good. I didn't do as many honorable mentions, but I have on here Crazy Taxi, Tony Hawk 2, The Last of Us, Sonic Adventure, and Mario Strikers.
Yes.
Nice.
Mario Strikers was really fun.
Andrew,
Yeah.
you got way into that more than I did, which is
I got
kind
into that game hard.
of funny because I play FIFA all the time now. So
But yeah, FIFA's good, but it's not Mario Strikers. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So that's
Well,
awesome.
There you go.
Was there
That's our
anything?
first battle royale.
I was
Say
just
what?
going to ask: is there any games that you guys thought of that you just maybe considered for the list, and you're like, you never thought that you would have thought of that game for this? Example: I was just writing down some games, going through some stuff. Golden Sun for the GBA was a great game. I just considered it. It's not a game you hear very much of anymore.
I don't remember the name of it, but that Metabots game for Game Boy Advance, I was like,
yeah.
before I started my list, I was like, that's going to be on it. I already know that's in my top 10.
Honestly, I think that may be a better game than the Pokemon Blue or Red, but just Pokemon was Pokemon, you know? And so, yeah.
I think things that we didn't expect. I didn't expect for Sims to get in my top 10.
Right.
I was surprised, but when I thought about it, I was like, oh shoot, no, I really love The Sims, and that was my first huge gaming love was The Sims.
Right.
Gotta be honest with that.
There was a game called Custom Robo.
Yep. I remember that one.
Chibi Robo?
Custom Robo. It's basically just robots fighting, and then the more you fight, you get new weapons and blah blah blah. But it was on.
It was good.
Was it on GameCube? I know it was on DS.
GameCube's where we played it. I think
played
we got really into that game when it snowed one time and we were stuck at a house.
Goodness.
And we
What
played
a
it a lot.
fantastic game.
And the other two that I thought of were Meteos, which is a puzzle game for the DS, and Elite Beat Agents. I love that one. It was a good one.
So many. I almost put GoldenEye. I could have put that as an
know.
honorable mention.
I was trying to think of which James Bond game would I even put in the honorable mentions. I don't even know which one because they're all good.
I loved them all as well.
I know.
GoldenEye's super good.
Yep.
Yeah.
What a game. Sega Bass Fishing, another one. We could do honorable mentions for days. But
We could.
Man. Need for Speed Carbon.
Well,
on the
go.
DS.
this has been
On the DS.
Yeah, I know, right? But this has been a long episode, and you guys have followed us and stuck it out to the end, so y'all are awesome.
Yes.
Absolutely. This podcast, Log On Battle Royale, is going to air every other Thursday. So send us a message on Facebook /podcast log on or tweet at us at podcast log on. Let us know what top 10 list we should do next, or if there's a topic out there that's kind of crazy that you want us to talk about. Just shoot us a message or tweet at us and we will see it. We're going to put up a poll with all our names in our top 10 list, as well as a link where you can see it with your own eyeballs. And we'll see who the listeners think has the best top 10 list.
Yes, and we definitely want to see you guys posting your top 10 list as well.
Post it. Tweet them at us. And then maybe
Tweet dems.
next Battle Royale, which will be in 2 weeks, we might name off a few of them.
Yep.
All right, well, it's been fine and dandy. Thank you all for joining and doing your dankest top 10 favorite
We've gone
games.
back to dank.
So dang.
Oh boy, it's time to shut this thing down.
Yeah. It's too late.
We'll be back Monday with Log On Weekly, and we will see you guys then.
See you.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.